Warning. That bloody Batmobile iPhone case is crap. Doesn't look nothing like a Tirana. Greetings! It's Pubcast, episode 110. 110.
Oh, I'm so glad, because British Tristan isn't here, obviously, but British Luke decided to stop by.
What ho, chaps!
I say.
Chapettes.
I feel like it's been a tour around the globe, this podcast so far.
Yeah, we've had Australia. We've had Australia.
And
Australia.
We've had so much Australia.
Yeah.
And now we're in the UK.
Maybe a little too much?
No such thing.
No? Okay, cool. Joining me today is the luminous,
Effervescent.
lively Lucy O'Brien.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, thank you, Luke.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll settle for luminous and lively.
All the way from New Zealand.
All the way from New Zealand. Travelled here today from New Zealand to take part in this Australian Pubcast.
Which you do every day.
Which I do every day.
Yeah.
Happy Australia Day, Lucy.
Thank you.
I know
Thank
that
you.
it's obviously been and gone, but as is tradition, we say Happy Australia Day
Every day.
Yeah.
As I come from the airport, walk through the doors, Happy Australia Day every day. It really makes me feel at home.
The bombastic Ben Baker.
Hey, mate. How you doing? It's good to be Australian and on a podcast.
I'm just so disappointed that you don't have your cap on whilst wearing your
I
headphones.
didn't want to block Lucy.
Oh, yeah,
with
fair
hat.
enough.
And
Yeah.
then, because we're recording these now, apparently. I didn't know that. I would have
The video thing.
would have bathed if I had known that.
So he definitely doesn't listen to the ones that he's not on.
No. And here's the thing about stench lines. They're kind of they're an idea. They're not actual
Can we
literal lines that you can see.
I don't
You
know about
didn't-
that.
Oh, you're getting some stench. Are you seeing some stench lines? I'm seeing some stench
Mist.
schweppervescence from your from your
Schweppervescence.
drink.
I am drinking mineral water, of course.
But I do totally hear you on the video thing, because I gotta fucking get a haircut and like shave and stuff at some point. I'm
People
just
enjoy
a shaggy
this, don't
kind
they?
of mess in the corner.
I've had a haircut since the last podcast. I was sprung with surprise that we were recording the last podcast, and I was looking a bit shaggy.
Yeah.
Just a haircut on the top of my head,
Yeah.
not the bottom of my head.
No.
Uh,
Oh man, you gotta be able to drop mysterious hairs all around the office, because it covers the pubes.
I can't vouch. I cannot
covers our
vouch for
second
whether
carpet.
it was a pube or not.
Yeah. We had an incident this morning.
I
Long story
suspect-
short.
Oh.
I suspect it was a beard hair
Yeah.
Yeah.
from my face,
Yeah.
But I was fucking the back of his chair only a couple of days ago.
but it was.
There's a hole in it. I
It
carved it
wasn't-
myself, but
It wasn't under my desk. It was a little more under
Oh.
Lucy's desk.
well.
interesting.
Because
So,
as we
yeah.
all know, Tristan is smooth as an egg.
And the catastrophic Cam Shay.
Woo! I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
aren't many good C words.
I'll be a host in lieu of a better one. My name is Luke Riley.
Hi, Luke.
Was last fortnight. Still is this fortnight.
You're killing it, Luke. You're
Yeah, I
hosting
know.
the shit out of this bad boy.
Yeah.
I kind of wish you were hosting
always
it
get
as
dumped in
Aussie
it.
Batman,
Yeah.
but can't have everything, I guess. Too much Australian, perhaps.
Maybe too much Australian
A
for
tad-
an entire
a tad too
podcast.
much. Also, there's obviously the explicit rating on iTunes, but when you got Aussie Batman hosting, there would have to be like a step above that to really warn people.
Yeah.
Because Aussie Batman, he's a fan of the swears.
There'd have to be some kind of cut, some kind of family-friendly cut, I think.
Yeah.
Deep cuts from the Batcave.
Anyway, let's just bounce straight into it because, as usual, there is plenty to talk about. There always is when you do these every 2 weeks. What have we been playing and watching? Let's start with me. No, let's not do that.
No, let's start with
No,
you.
let's not start with Luke.
No. Let's start with something we never speak about.
Yep.
Lucy and Cam, you've been playing a little-known card game on the
That's right.
PC.
WWE Wrestle Time Happy Friends. What's it called again?
Hey, we don't play Supercard anymore.
Oh, okay.
I play WWE Immortals, made by the NetherRealm team.
Yep.
That's what. That's. Okay.
I did see that get released and went, that's not for me. And that was the extent of my involvement with
Hang on,
that
NetherRealm
game.
have made a WWE game.
Yeah, it's like Injustice, but with The Undertaker and Daniel Bryan and all those dudes.
How have I not heard of this? I mean, I'd never play
It's
it,
been
but how
all
is
over our site, Luke.
It's fucking sick.
Really?
Well, it looks like somebody doesn't read articles that he hasn't written.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, every single day.
Mm.
I read great swathes. I fail to read great swathes of IGN.
So yeah, Hearthstone, Lucy.
Yes.
Now you're playing Hearthstone. Does that mean you're gonna just quickly? Does that mean you're gonna speak about it loads?
Well, okay.
On the
First of all,
podcast?
no.
Okay.
Because I'm yet to actually play Hearthstone. What we've been kind of doing,
Has
Cam
Cam been
Cam
bogarting
and
all the
I-
Hearthstone?
No.
No, not at all. No, Cam's been giving me a sort of 101 guide, like a beginner's guide, a sort of Hearthstone for dummies. So we've done a series of videos where basically we're just kind of going through like the bare bones of the game, which is what I need.
Yep.
Because, and I'm sure like a lot of people out there need it too, because
Thing about Hearthstone is if you watch like a tournament or something, unless
Can
you
be
know
bewildering.
every single card, you're not going to be able to follow it in any
Yeah.
real way. You're not going to understand the subtlety of it.
Yeah.
So Hearthstone's a game that like kind of works on heaps of different levels. So we figured that, and I mean, look, honestly, I just wanted an excuse to like do some Hearthstone content, and I kind of haven't been able to do it with you guys in the past because I can't have a conversation on that kind of like real enthusiast level.
Yep.
So yeah, we figured it would be fun to just start from the very beginning, and you can learn what it's all about, see if you think it's interesting and fun.
Yeah.
And so the videos are very much just for people who have an interest in it but haven't really played it much.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, it's been really, I mean, I'm obviously not going to say I've hated it, but I really haven't. Like, it's been great. I've really enjoyed watching Cam play. I can't believe I'm saying this, actually.
You're an enabler.
I know, and I'm sort of hating myself for it. No, but it's amazing. Like we played when I say we, it's Cam. I mean, if I was playing, the videos would be much slower and much more difficult to watch. So at this point, Cam's still playing. But
I'm consulting you in every move,
Yeah,
but I'm saying this is what I would do.
Totally. And
I would say that you shouldn't worry. I'm sure the videos are hard enough to watch already.
If you can get over that hurdle, it doesn't matter who's playing. I mean, it should just be a black screen.
yeah.
at that
No,
point.
I mean, like yesterday we played a match that was really, and we're playing with really basic cards.
So what I've done is, because Hearthstone you can play on 3 different servers,
Yep.
but your collection doesn't carry across. So I've got my whole collection on the American server. So I created a new account essentially on the European server. And so we've started from scratch, and we've got no assets to speak of. So it's very much like if you're starting Hearthstone for the first time, these are the cards you're going to have. And so, but we're playing against other low-level players. So it's
real people, not like bots.
No, we're playing real.
no.
against real people.
I don't know how bad the bots are in Hearthstone anymore.
Yeah.
I've rarely come across bots.
Yeah, I just think for any kind of like tutorial purposes, it's always better to play against a real person because it's more indicative of the experience that you'll have.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were playing this game yesterday and it was really close, and I got nervous. I was genuinely nervous. Like I was genuinely sort of thinking, oh my god, which way is this going to go? And I sort of suddenly it sort of suddenly clicked for me in that moment. I like. One thing that I've really enjoyed with this kind of tutorial Hearthstone thing is it's made it A, more accessible, but like B, it's kind of forced me to sit down and actually kind of look at the game at all, because I didn't realize that its interface was so clean. I didn't realize that it was like, I mean, it does look accessible.
Yeah.
Like, I sort of thought
The
it was
building
going to be
blocks
this
are so
really
straightforward.
crazy, like that time that I tried to play Magic the Gathering and I failed dismally because it was it just all seemed too, like, too many rules, too many...
Yeah, Magic is one of those things where I get the feeling like, all right, you need to commit to X amount of time to start to kind of really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Whereas Hearthstone, I think you can appreciate immediately, and then it just continues to reveal more and more depth.
But yeah, but that's exactly it. Like, its foundations are really basic, but as you sort of explore it more, and obviously as you get better at the game, it reveals all these layers. I think you compared it yesterday to a sweet, sweet onion. And
I compared it to the work of Michelangelo. I compared it to the Renaissance.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that little comparison.
So
I
you were understating it.
I compared it to the birth of the universe.
Yes.
And the birth of consciousness. I compared it. No, I don't need to keep going.
And so on. But yeah, like...
What's next? What's next?
What comes after the birth of the universe? But no, like, I really enjoyed it. And I'm sort of at the point where I'm thinking I might download it onto a device and give it a spin myself in my own time. I know. And I totally need the holy water.
But you know what
right
you've
now.
done? You know what you've done to me now, Lucy, is now I've got 2 accounts. So I've got my account with like 90% of the cards, and I've got my account with no cards. And obviously I'm not going to spend any money on that account because I don't want to do that. But now, like, you get your daily kind of quests, and so now it's like, well, I guess I better earn gold on both accounts.
I was thinking about that when you said, "Oh, I get to start," and I was all like,
yeah.
the card boner that he must have
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
like the total card on."
The card on.
Where you're like, "Oh, well, now I have to do twice as much stuff."
Yeah.
Because I've got both accounts.
No, but I've really enjoyed like reliving that experience of like what it's like, because it's a completely different game when you start out. Like the game that I play on my American account is like, I'm not necessarily a great player, but it's a very high level game. It's very much about understanding the meta game and what types of decks people are running and that kind of stuff. Whereas early on, like, it's really just about being efficient and kind of understanding the basic mechanics.
Us unwashed heathens would not understand.
The one question I was going to ask though is that because you're playing against these real people, these unsuspecting European Hearthstone enthusiasts, Hearthstone beginners.
Yeah, noobs.
And they're kind of just like chaff in your wake to educate Lucy, because you're kind of this Hearthstone.
No. But
that guy yesterday was pretty good.
Yeah. Like,
it kind of feels like
that guy or girl.
It's a bit of a mix, actually. I did play against somebody on that account yesterday who just clearly, like, it was like his second game.
Yeah.
Because he was like taking ages, and he was going through each card in his hand to work out what he could play. So obviously he got completely destroyed. But the guy we played against yesterday had significantly better cards than we did. So even though he was a low rank, he had obviously either spent some money to build his deck, or he played a bit and was just at that rank for whatever reason. So he provided a good game. I mean, with matchmaking, like, it's always going to be a bit of a crapshoot. So, and the thing is, once we get up to kind of rank 20 and above, we're going to be routinely playing against people with way better card collections than us. So the challenge is going to ramp up really quickly. So skill can get you so far.
Yeah.
But, like, there's a lot to be said for actually having a unified approach, and you can't really build a unified approach or like a very focused approach unless you have the cards.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
All right. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, because initially when you were saying, we kind of restarted again, and I know you're being, how many games of didn't you get an achievement recently for like winning 1,000 games of Hearthstone?
It was something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And you sort of said you win about half the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this feels like Mark Webber turning up at a go-kart track in a moustache, just going, oh yeah, what button makes it go? And then just destroying everybody there and be like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, huh? I'm good at this.
I'm not.
That's Mark Webber's accent.
Yeah,
it
was impressive.
A 10 out of 10 Mark Webber accent. I closed
Hello, my name is Mark Webber.
I closed my eyes for a minute, and it was like he was in this room.
So I closed my eyes and just pictured Scafey, because that's just what I do.
Well, every
night.
I would have gone say like Scafey or Lounsey.
But we all know that Scafey communicates with a series of high-pitched wails and screeches.
But we are an international program with international fans.
Yeah, I think they're probably in the minority. We love them, but
I'm probably, I make
You're
up half of them.
yeah, you're about as international as the Pubcast gets.
Can we get rid of the international fans? I don't care for them personally. I want
Well,
this
why
to
don't
be
you?
an oceanic only podcast.
Well, yeah, we could stop. Yeah, it's hard to kind of lock it down on iTunes. We could certainly lock it down further on IGN. Not published to the UK anymore.
I think we
Just Australia.
or just continue to put out the
Can we
quality
just
of
publish it
product that
just-
we're putting
Oh,
out
I see what
now.
you're saying. Right. So really just drive it into the ground organically.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
drive people. That's basically my goal. Is
Yep.
to for Australians, by Australians, and when I
So
say that, I
should
mean
we
like
just-
for about 6 Australians.
So should we just
think I
open
just
the
get-
cast with you mooning the camera, and if you just listen to the audio, it's just silence for like 5 minutes?
I just feel like,
Like how do you keep the Australians but turn the international listeners away?
Let's not stop at Australia. Let's just narrow it down to this postcode.
so
Okay.
the
Wait,
great,
wait.
the greater
Wait,
Piedmont
but-
area,
Come on.
Piedmont.
Piedmont.
Here's the thing, right?
Then we can just do it live.
This grand experiment that we've been doing called the Pubcast has failed because we always started this when we started it was for us just to have fun and just chill out and talk shit, but now we've got an audience and that's a death knell for our initial ideals. We've sold out. We've
Yeah, I
sold
know.
out. We've got a fucking audience.
We've
It's
lost.
not good enough. So Baker, your move.
Look, if
Uh,
I'm trying to lose fans, putting my moneymaker on camera isn't going to get rid of them. I'm telling you
Oh,
that now.
hello.
Lucy, hit us with the other game you've been playing that isn't Hearthstone. Because I'm genuinely interested to hear about this because there's a lot of people on my Facebook that are sort of banging, and I say this in the nicest possible way, but banging on about this game quite a bit. Life is Strange.
Yeah.
What's the go?
Well, you've played it too, right, Cam?
I have.
Yeah. So, well, it's basically an episode. It's not. It is an episodic drama.
Yep.
It is set in a high school. It is like essentially
It's a teen drama.
It's a teen drama, but with a supernatural twist.
It's a magic realist teen drama.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got
Again,
it's sort of got it's got tinges of Beyond Two Souls to it.
And we all know how much you love that
And
game.
yeah, we all know how much I love that. Listen, I mean, obviously there's only been one episode. I think that it had some issues, but I also don't think it was an unmitigated disaster. I think that it's a
would
really interesting experiment that they're doing. Don't nod.
Yeah, this is the Remember Me guy.
Yeah,
the
that's
crew,
right. Yeah. And I think I'm actually genuinely really looking forward to the second episode, even though I found lots of flaws in the first. So it was one of those kinds of games where I was thinking, especially the dialogue is
Would you say the dialogue was hella bad?
it was. I sort of thought, like, at the beginning, I was like, because I've got this teenage cousin, so she's 16. And before I'd played it, I'd heard some criticisms over the overuse of the word hella. And I was like, well, my 16-year-old cousin uses hella all the time.
So does Cartman.
But somehow, in Life
It's
is
so-
Strange,
it's so
it
try-hard.
sounds really
so-
forced. It's kind of
so bad.
It's kind of one of those awkward sort of combinations of clunky voice acting and writers who are inserting what they believe to be teen lingo, but inserting it in the wrong sort of spots.
And let's face it, like, as teen lingo goes, I mean, it's pretty old-fashioned, really. Like,
Well, yeah. I
your
mean,
cousin may say it, but, like, to me, it's just like, oh, this is just embarrassing.
It's a
sounds
little.
pretty bodacious to me, guys.
Yeah.
Does it sound tonar? Because it sounds tonar to me.
Yeah, it was basically like a really interesting little.
Well, you should give a bit more of an overview, like just of what that first episode is before we kind of pick it apart. Because
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, it's the story of a girl who is returning to her hometown after some time in the big city of Seattle, because she got a place at a very prestigious photography school. And so basically she's 18, so it's still got, she's older, they're all older, but it's still got that real kind of teen angsty flavor to it.
Yep.
And basically she's going back and she starts realizing, and this is where things get a bit kooky, and certainly on paper it sounds ridiculous, but it's a cool little twist in practice. She can actually rewind time. So she has the ability, and therefore you have the ability to rewind time at any given moment, which means that the decisions that you make, you can rewind them and choose a different path if you so wish, which results in a different outcome.
And there are certain things that you can kind of rewind, items that you can rewind with. So it's all built around kind of puzzles. So it's kind of set pieces / puzzles that the mechanics use for. So yeah, she comes back to this school. You know, she left her best friend when her family moved to Seattle. So they've kind of they've become different people. Mm-hmm. She's pretty kind of unsure of herself. She's not a particularly likable character at first. She's pretty just uncertain and just.
Well, she's quite meek, isn't she? Which is sort of like. You know, that can be a bit frustrating when you're controlling, when you want your protagonist, especially when you're really used to your protagonist being really strong and assertive, which is essentially 95% of video game protagonists. Yep. And she's, you know, as you say, like quite uncertain, sort of timid, a bit mousy, which is kind of difficult to, like it's going to take you a while to warm to a character like that. Exactly.
But, you know, as long as as long as it's kind of like an interesting character, like you'll get there, you know, and that's fine. Like you don't have to like every character immediately, but I did find it a little bit frustrating. So the kind of rewind mechanic, you know, the initial examples are kind of a confrontation in the bathroom where somebody pulls a gun on somebody and kind of preventing that from happening, and then, you know, just the responses you give to your teacher, the photography teacher. And so it's kind of an interesting thing. Like it's a choice and consequence game. The idea of the choices you make is that there are consequences for them down the line. You can kind of rewind your choices and play each scenario out differently to see how it plays out, which kind of takes a little bit of the meaning away from making choices in the first place. But by the same token, the consequences are further down the line. So you're still having to kind of go, all right, well, this is how I want to play it. So even you might think it's like, well, this is obviously the right way to do it, but you don't know that for sure.
Yeah, and you know, in that sort of way, it does feel a bit telltale. Like you're never quite sure whether your decision is the right one or the wrong one because it's quite grey.
Yeah.
I mean, like I also it's really interesting because I sent out a tweet about it and I got a lot of some of my younger Twitter followers were saying that they found it really affecting because it reminded them of their high school experience. And I thought that was great. You know, I sort of thought, well, that's fantastic. And you just you know, it's so great when a game can sort of ring true like that. I mean, I like it as I said, it's got some issues with dialogue, unfortunately. And
but I would say that like some of the dialogue is terrible, but I think the writing kind of actually veers from quite good to quite bad. Like I don't think it's uniformly bad.
No,
like,
it's definitely not.
I wouldn't play a game where the writing is uniformly bad. So like some bits of it I enjoyed, some bits of it really stuck out like a sore thumb. So maybe just a bit more kind of consistency in future episodes.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the whole I mean there are two aspects to it that really intrigue me. Of course, the rewind mechanic and how that is going to evolve in the next episode. But also, I from a really fundamental level, I'm really interested in how the two female, like how their relationship is going to evolve. Like the protagonist and her best friend Chloe. I mean, I think that's a really interesting relationship, and again, one we haven't really seen in video games. So, I think I thought that Life is Strange. I think I would definitely recommend it, but I would recommend it with the caveat that it's not perfect. It does have some issues. But it shows a hell of a lot of potential moving forward, I think.
I think what's interesting is like how the business model kind of back end will work for them. Like in terms of like how many sales do you need to kind of keep the episodes being built? Like at what point is there, you know, like, I mean, if nobody buys episode 1, do they just can it? Like I'm just really curious because I think episodic development does make sense, but I think this game in particular is quite risky and
Also,
may
it's-
not find an audience.
It's not built on a subscription base like the Telltale games are.
No, it
so-
is. Like, I've bought the... You
Oh, you
can
bought the
buy-
whole thing?
You can buy a
Okay.
season pass.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I
Um,
guess it depends.
Well, it's like
on-
$5 for the first episode, and then 15
Yeah.
bucks or something for 5.
That's
or-
really
I mean,
reasonable, though.
It's
like,
very reasonable.
I tell you what, like, I'm becoming such a fan of narrative-driven episodic gaming. Like, I so prefer playing narrative-driven games in short bursts like that. Like, for me, I honestly believe that is the way that Quantic Dream should, like, release their games
Yeah.
moving forward. Because it's
Yeah.
just, like, it also distracts from the fact that David Cage's writing tends to veer off into this really kind of ridiculous territory
Yeah.
when you're playing it all at once.
Yeah.
Because the rhythms aren't right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And theoretically, it could be like a TV series where you set out to make 24 episodes, whatever it is, and then the ratings aren't good enough, so you kind of cut it back or you extend it out. And
yeah.
so theoretically, like, there could be, like somebody like David Cage, like there's such big projects, like kind of just narrowing it down to the beats and then kind of just doing it bit by bit. But then if you're dealing with like, high-profile talent, it kind of adds complexities to the actual process of making the game.
I see what you mean, but I think there's room, and I think we've seen it happen in TV. Probably, I mean, not so much recently. It's happening more and more commonly now, but sort of back in the day where you had sort of the premium TV stuff that was attracting Hollywood talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like even 24, which I didn't really watch, but when he came across to do TV, everyone's like, oh, what's Kiefer Sutherland doing on television? That's a weird thing to happen. But now everyone does it.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's on television. Matthew McConaughey's on television. Like they just do that. So I don't know whether or not the talent thing is a stumbling block, and I feel like there is a place for someone like Quantic Dream to be the HBO of episodic gaming.
Yep.
And come in and do really premium episodic gaming. And I feel like Sony don't necessarily have to back out of it and go, oh, well, we don't really want to do that. You can do that. We're all about, single, standalone sort of games that you just plonk out in the market. Because Telltale have their cake and eat it too. They release 5 episodes of The Wolf Among Us, and then at the end of the day, when they're all out, several months later, they go, here it is in a box on the shelf on PS4 or whatever. So they still have those complete games.
Yep.
But they have them at the end,
Yeah.
rather than at the start of the process, which is exactly how you buy television. Like you can
Yeah.
either watch it a la carte on TV, or say buy it digitally or whatever,
And
or
weirdly
you just
enough,
get to the end and go, oh, just buy the DVD.
Yeah, I kind of sort of wind up binge watching
Yeah.
or binge playing all of these games, generally speaking. Like, I did that with The Walking Dead.
Same here.
I started with the second season. I played the first episode, and then I thought, oh, I'll come back to when it's all out.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
Because
Yeah.
I can't. As much as I wanted to play it, month
Yep.
to month or
Yeah.
whatever it was like. I find it much easier. I do that with TV shows as well. Like
Yep.
if you have a whole season.
I know you're like, why watch one Big Bang Theory episode
when I can
when I can watch
watch
the
I
whole
can watch them all at
yeah,
once.
yeah, like 8
Yeah.
seasons worth or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think it suits like whatever your taste is. Because I play Telltale games since the first season of The Walking Dead. I've played them episodically. So
Yeah.
I'm playing I played Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolf
I
of
played The
Wall
Wolf of Wall
Great
Street.
game.
Their great episodic
and James
tale
of
of
Thrones. That's a good one.
cocaine and hookers.
James of Thrones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm playing Game of Thrones as well, episodically. But yeah, it's. I just really like that model. I think it's
Yeah.
awesome. I like the fact that you can have a 2 to 3 hour experience
Yep.
that feels really fulfilling and that you can mull over for a while before the next one comes along. I just think it's like the best way to play these sorts of, as I said, narrative-driven, choice and consequence kind of games, which are becoming so much more popular since
Yep.
Telltale sort of ignited it. So,
It's brilliant. It's just like modern day point and click adventures where they've ditched most of the puzzles. And I kind of feel that's a good thing for the most part because like the puzzles were often the stumbling blocks in those games. Like they could be really fun, but
Sometimes they can be really obtuse.
But a lot of the time they're really obtuse. But then you've got your Broken Age, which still has the kind of puzzles, but they're just it's modern game.
it's way
Modern
more
game design is
streamlined,
just
yeah.
so different because back in the day, like the people making those games, it was like 2 or 3 people, and they were just they were really finding their feet as they went along, and so it's no wonder that in Sierra games there were just scenarios where you'd die or you'd get 3/4 of the way through the game and not have the item that you needed to beat something, and just had to go back to an earlier save. Like it was just formative game design.
Sit there and get every single thing in your inventory and
and combine them
against every single thing on the screen.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this will work.
Yep.
That's my entire experience with all the Monkey Island games.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never finished a Space Quest game.
Yeah, me neither.
Never.
Those
finished one.
games were brutal, man.
Yeah.
Like it's not any wonder. Like in the age before wikis and game facts, even like it was just interesting reading like Costa's Grim Fandango retrospective, because he was pretty much just like, if you were trying to do like the second year without a walkthrough, you're pretty much boned, because it makes sense in retrospect, but like there's so many kind of parts to it, like, and that for me it's too frustrating.
I told you guys that when I was at primary school, and we had a class called technology. And this was like, because I'm 31, so clearly technology when I was a little kid was straddling the line between the pre-internet and internet age.
Yep. Yeah, I remember
and you know that line.
Yeah. I remember that line well.
Yeah, but we and honestly, like, how crazy is it that we can even say that? In 20 years, we'll look back and think, oh my God, we were alive before the internet?
Man, ubiquitous internet. Like, it's
I know.
something that everybody takes for granted, but it's still, I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Technology, man.
But yeah, it's because this
should
was
get a computer.
pre-internet, and we used to play. So we would go to technology. We used to sit in this big room full of these old computers, obviously old because I'm old. And we would play King's Quest, and that would be.
we would play King's Quest as
and
well.
that would be our technology class.
Yeah.
We would literally play King's Quest for an hour until the bell rang.
Yeah.
And then we would go to maths. Like it was just amazing, because I suppose at that point, what else were we really gonna do in technology class?
I had to play that Encarta game.
Oh yeah, that Encarta game.
You have to know. No, but like there was Encarta, but then there was
Then there was the game
this game
with the
inside-
jester.
Yeah. And
Seriously?
You just
Yeah.
have to know shit about paintings, and I hated it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we used to play that game as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I remember before the internet, sorta. I don't
Yeah.
know. Life is hazy.
Yeah. I remember before I had like a supercomputer in my pocket. That was interesting.
Yeah. Ben, I'll get back to what you've seen in a moment, but Ben, do you remember what happened in the past fortnight? Because I'm going to ask you about it.
No.
Remember that game you were playing? Remember that promise to the listeners that you broke?
What game was I meant to? Oh, wait. Where I wasn't going to buy any more early access games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that again. Just like everybody stops going to the gym. I hadn't played any games. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't play any games. And then I was like, fuck, I got to do
That's bullshit, man. Every time I'm sitting on my computer, it's like Ben Baker is playing The Binding of Isaac.
All right.
Rebirth.
I've clicked over into 100 hours of The Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Wow.
I really like The Binding of Isaac
That's
Rebirth.
almost a quarter of how much Hearthstone I played.
Yeah. Okay, so I've been playing that, but that doesn't count. That's more of a lifestyle choice.
That's how you unwind.
But yeah, just put my through to that roguelike hell. So I decided I would try and find a game that like kind of looked neat that I didn't think anybody had been talking about, and I picked up a game for about $8 called Besiege, which is now available on early access, and it's kind of like. Imagine if you were doing Kerbal Space Program, but for like medieval trebuchets and different kind of devices back then.
Yeah, right.
And there's like a sandbox mode, but there's also missions, and the missions will be like, kill 90% of these dudes, and you kind
so it's like Angry Birds.
I don't know why I laughed at that.
It's like
it's
Angry Birds for adults.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know if anybody played. There was like a Angry Birds style game called Bad Piggies or something, where you would have to put together
you have
little
constructions. Yeah.
It's got that vibe and a Kerbal Space kind of vibe. It's got really beautiful art style, super minimalist, but really, really good looking.
Wait, but is it? So it's stylized. It's not. It's 3D or 2D.
It's kind of it's 3D.
Right.
It's very stylized, kind of like not minimal. When I say minimal, it makes you think like super flat colors, but it's not like big rolling landscapes.
Right.
It almost looks like the map will be sitting in the middle of like kind of this gray expanse. It's very nice looking. Like you'd really dig the art style.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
And so there'll be things like, okay, you need to explode this one building, and the only way you can do it is with a bomb. So you need to build like a trebuchet, and that's when the PewDiePie-approved physics fuck party begins. And like you'll have to break.
You're just going for like a box quote here.
Yeah. If he's getting box quotes, I want box quotes on cases of wild turkey. And so, you'll build a trebuchet, but I don't know shit about building a trebuchet.
Yeah.
So my trebuchet will snap in half and explode into itself. And then, like...
Man, my mum would love this game.
Yeah, or, like, you can build kind of carts with spikes and stuff, and you'll need to kind of navigate things. It's like a series of different kinds of quests to do.
Yeah, right.
They're all fairly minimal at first, and out of all of the areas, only 1 of 5 is unlocked currently.
Okay.
But it is really fun. And
how, like, in terms of the earliness of the early access, is it more it's robust, but it's only a vertical slice of the game?
Yeah. It's like a demo, basically.
Right.
It feels like a demo rather than a half-cooked cake.
Yeah, cool.
Which I don't mind. I don't mind that,
No,
like...
that's
I love demos.
Yeah. It
depends on the game,
Crusader
right?
of the demo. But yeah, it really does. It really has a... I don't know. I remember I got the Stuntman demo for... Remember the stunt... Yeah, big fan. 5,000 pounds of pressure. If anybody's ever played that game, you'll get that reference.
They will.
But that was like, you get the first little campaign, and then you get the sandbox mode, and then you're like, oh, I really want more of this. I want more things to fuck around. I want more parts. I want more little things to do. And that's the kind of vibe I got from it.
Right.
Actually, I've only played it for maybe 3 hours or so, but I am keen to see and play it again when the rest comes out, because I feel like I haven't played through all the game with half of the, features.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
I get it.
And one of my favorite features is you can build these fucking hideous attractions that just keep evolving as you keep trying to trial and error your way.
Yep.
Then you can save them, and so next time you're like, oh, okay, well now I have to load a trebuchet up for this time, or I made this, big wall of cannons that just shoots all these dudes, and you'll just load it up in the next mission that has nothing to do with it, and just see how useless you are as an engineer. But yeah, I dig it. It's $8.
So is there any kind of like community share functionality or anything like that?
I'm not sure.
Because that could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. That sounds like fun actually.
It's really quick, cheap, fun. Like again, like I got 3 hours out of it. It cost me $8, and there'll be more when I go back to it later.
Right.
This is the kind of early access that I can vibe. My crusade against early access.
You're a flip-flopper.
I am.
It's a fact.
I don't know how to feel, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel.
You're always shilly-shallying and
I'm in an abusive
dilly-dallying.
relationship with early access. You don't know it like I do.
Baby, I still love you.
But yeah, that's all I've really been playing, apart from 80 solid hours of Binding of Isaac since we last talked.
Hey man, you and I are both sad single game folk.
We're just sick in different directions.
Yeah, that's right. You like more satanic imagery in your games.
Just crying off in your
Yeah.
And you like that Ghoulie Goblin game with the cards. With all the boogans and the skeleton man.
It's called Grab by the Ghoulies.
Grab by the Ghoulies.
And it's Rare's greatest achievement, right? It's the reason I bought an Xbox. Halo schmalo.
Good news, everyone. Ben, you weren't here last fortnight, but
was that the good news?
the good news.
Yeah, great news, you guys.
Ben wasn't here last
Follow-up
weekend.
news, which is bad news. Ben's here.
The good news is that I have finished dressing up my cricketers.
He's a developer now.
I'm a video game developer now.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have
Developer/hacker.
actually spent a great deal of time playing Don Bradman Cricket 14 on PC rather than modding it.
Wow. So
Did you not put this on the run sheet because you knew we'd say we're not going to talk about Don Bradman again?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
You just sprung it on us?
That's exactly it.
Okay, all right.
So that's the good news. The other good news.
Keep your face smiling as he talks about Don Bradman cricket.
The other good news
Bond
is that
Bradman.
Von Dragman.
I have seen the future. I have seen the future of how I am going to play racing games.
Oh, yeah.
And it is good. It is so good.
Yep.
Satin boxes.
I kept this to myself this morning when
I didn't ask you about it because I was like, we're going to talk about this in the Pubcast.
Because I went out and played Project Cars yesterday afternoon,
Nice.
which is a game I've been looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
And I played
doesn't
it.
sound like the kind of game you're into. So
I know, right? But
It's not called Planet Michael.
against all odds, this game, it spoke to me.
Okay.
It spoke to me.
And it said, boom, boom.
But here's the thing, right? So I went out to play it, and they had a Oculus Rift set up, so I could play it with the Oculus Rift.
Oh,
on.
no shit, really?
Yes.
Awesome.
And this.
I thought you were just going to say it was a 900-degree wheel.
No. This is my. No, I mean, I afterwards I played it in on a big 4K screen, like on a massive 4K screen, and it looks like really good.
Yep.
Like absurdly good. Like the weather isn't as good as Drive Club.
Yep.
Drive Club, hands down, has the best weather, and no one else has anything close to it.
Yep.
But in terms of just the cars and the modeling, it's just amazing, especially for a game that they funded themselves, like with crowdsourcing. But I played it on Oculus Rift, and dead set, I have dead set in the fair dinkum department. I have seen the future of how I want to play all racing games, and it is absurd. They put it on right, and this is the thing. Like Tristan was telling me that he played a racing game, played Assetto Corsa with Oculus Rift, like at some point last year, and the whole time he was playing it, he was like, "Luke's gonna love this." But I'd never played a racing game with Oculus Rift yet.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Project Cars, and it is just astonishing. Like the resolution is shit. Because it was like a DK2, and
right.
So I think that's 720p or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the like resolution-wise, it's like just.
I spit on your DK2. No.
But in terms of the experience itself and just what it sort of
the sense of speed and stuff.
Yeah, what it illustrates to me is where this is going to go, and where it's going to go is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. Because I'm in this car, right? Like, you go into the cabin view, obviously, and you're in the Oculus Rift, and your only instruction basically is like to put it on. Here's the controller. They had a wheel there, but they couldn't get the force feedback to work, so I had to use the controller. And as a side note, just in case I forget to mention it later on, the first time I played Project Cars, which was a few months ago, I played it with a wheel. It was great. I played it with a controller, and it just didn't feel. It just felt like it just wasn't tuned as a controller, and it felt kind of like tough. It felt kind of like a game that where you'd start playing it. If you like racing games, you start playing and be like, oh, this is kind of hard to get a feel for the controller. And because that's primarily the way most people will play the game, like wheels are great and all, and they're great for the hardcore, and they're the people who are really vocal on the web. Yep. But statistically speaking, most people are going to play any racing game. They're going to play it with a controller.
I play it with the A and D keys.
But it actually, like, honestly, it really, really, really improved the controller, the controller input and the controller control. So whatever defaults to the settings they worked out, honestly, I was stunned because first thing I walked in when he's like, "We're not going to use a wheel," I was so disappointed because I was like, "Last time I came here, the controller was kind of shit." But it was great. But I'm sitting in this chair and it's like just wiggle until on the screen it feels like your head is in the guy's head. So all I had to do is sort of wiggle sideways a bit, and you're in this car, and everywhere you look, and there's no latency. Like everywhere you look, it's like there's the passenger seat, there's the gear shift, there's the side, there's this like the side window, that's that window.
There's my cock in my hand.
There's the mirror. Yeah, pretty much. And so you're just fanging down these racetracks, and you're looking in the rear vision mirror.
That does sound awesome.
And you're like, there's
that
someone
even appeals to me.
Yeah,
there's
totally.
Like you're speeding those racetracks.
Rocky
the sense
sim.
of speed is amazing.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to check the rear vision mirror, see if there's anybody behind me. I'm braking for this corner. Are they going to dive on the inside? So you look up at the rear vision mirror, and that instantly happens. There's no lag, and you look up and you see the car in the rear vision mirror. You're like, I'm going to try and block him. It's just incredible. And here's the thing. Here's the clincher. And like, there was so much great stuff. Like, you see people coming out of sort of your peripheral vision. You're like, they're trying to overtake me. And you're looking at them and you're trying to like, veer them off the road a bit.
It's totally what racing games are missing.
Oh, it's
so
amazing.
what they're missing.
But here's it, right? And the guy who was demoing it for me, he told me that because you can stand up, and if you stand up, you clip through the roof. You know, so because it's kind of been fashioned into the game. It's not quite. I don't know. I don't know how it quite works yet. And there's like all these settings you got to put in there, and
Right.
they're really intimidating. But it all worked. It was all just done for me. But here's the thing, right? I was driving along, I was in a stock car, and I had this nose to tail, and I'll make this quick because everyone hates when I talk about racing games. I had this nose to tail with this car.
I'm a huge fan of it.
I just want to hear about Don Brabham.
I had this car in front of me, and he braked. I didn't brake fast enough, and I crunched into the back of him, and my bonnet folded up because it's got damage and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, because I'm locked in cabin view because I'm playing the Oculus Rift version, I can't see anything. So all I can see is the sky box. I can see the sky box, and I've got this thing, and I've got this bonnet in front of me.
You can't stick your head out the window?
No. Yes, you can. That's it. So I'm sitting in the chair with a controller, and the bonnet is crunched up in front of me, and I'm like, I can't see anything. So what would you do?
I'd stick my head out the window.
So that's what you do.
Oh my god.
And I just went like that. And so I just leant to the side over the edge of the chair, and on screen, what I'm seeing is out of the window.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And if you look down, you can see the side of the door and the bottom of the racetrack and the grassy verge, and you can see around the damage. It's the sensation of being placed in a three-dimensional space is incredible, and that goes for every sort of Oculus Rift game. You know, you feel like you're in a space.
Yeah.
But nothing illustrated the potential of this technology more than the fact that, you know, anything. If that happened on a 2D screen, you're like, oh, you got to wait till the bonnet flies off, because it happens in all kinds of racing games. You're like, oh, the bonnet's blocking me. I'll drive fast and it'll fly off. And it did.
Switch to third person.
Yeah, or switch to third person. But you're like, it was so intuitive. It just felt so organic. Because it's like, I just want to see around this. So I stuck my head to the side and I saw around it, and I was like, "Oh my god,
it's amazing!
This is the future.
This is huge."
You know that connectors had head tracking for quite a while.
Here's something I wish that they would add. They're not going to do it, but if the head had a hitbox, so if you do stick your head out the window and you clip a tree, you die. Or if you try to stand up and you bump your head and you concuss your guy, or if debris flies through the window and you don't duck it, just add that little extra level.
You got to figure that is something that developers are going to take advantage of.
That would be amazing. Imagine that. Imagine like a door from another car flies off, hits and goes through your windscreen, and you don't duck and you get decapitated.
Well, that's the thing. You can duck. You can duck, because that's the thing. Because of the resolutions, are a little bit sketchy because it's a DK2 kit. I can't quite make out the dials.
So it stands for Donkey Kong 2.
Yeah, Donkey Kong 2.
Sorry, I was more of a Sega kid.
So, some of the cars I drove had these sort of big heads-up displays that were quite large digital figures, and you could see the speeds and resolutions.
Yeah.
Some of them have smaller ones, and you're like, I can't quite make that out. But you're just like, I lean forward, and you can see the dials. Everything becomes closer. And it's the thing, if you turn to the side, in some of the cars, not the road cars, but the bespoke racing cars, you turn to the side, you don't just see out the side window. You see your shoulder in racing gear with the strap on, with the racing strap on, and the safety bolster of the seat to protect your head from impacts. It's just there. So you've got to kind of lean forward so you can see past the racing seat. It's amazing.
Hey, Luke, you know how we've talked in the past about how racing games and new technology, racing games are the showcase genre for new tech. And that's when people really get excited about racing games. This is it again.
This is it.
This is it again. This is the most logical way to showcase this kind of movement in 3D space immersion tech. It's fucking. I'm so excited now.
Yeah, and it's one of those games where you're sitting. I think horror games are going to be pretty incredible. I think all kinds of games will be able to be really
horror games.
I feel
horror games on the Oculus are going to be near unbearable.
Yeah, but I feel like
in the best kind of way.
Yeah, but I feel like any game that you're sitting really does have an advantage.
Totally.
Especially if you've got a wheel. That's just it's replicating kind of almost everything.
I think any fixed vehicle kind of stuff is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Like that. We should probably move on to the news, but that's
Let's talk about this forever.
Star Citizen game.
Yeah.
That has Oculus Rift support, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So imagine like flying through space in these crazy spaceships. Like I've seen demos of that
And
game.
then your
and
bonnet flies up.
yeah.
And you put your head out.
Head out the window.
And then you can't breathe.
You can't
and
breathe and you
you
die.
die.
Yeah.
Can I get a undescript
You
drink?
certainly can.
Let's move on to the news. While Baker refreshes his,
Are we allowed to do? I don't know.
you know,
Too late now.
This is a lemonade.
refreshes himself.
See, you're not an IGN employee. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hey, don't jump the gun on the mailbag.
Cans, they're as cold as ice.
Something twice as nice.
Can is twice as nice on ice. So
I
take
know.
my advice.
Ice.
Ice.
Smoke ice.
Does anybody else remember that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that
I have that
commercial
saved.
from the 1990s.
I have it saved in my YouTube
Yeah.
favorites playlist.
Anyway,
What's
news.
the New Zealand version of it, Lucy?
We don't have one, unfortunately.
Oh.
But you guys are missing out on. Actually, no, you're not at all. I'm not even going to go down that road. Let's move on to the news.
I chilly been there, man. Sorry. I tried, guys.
In news that will clearly has surprised some, Mortal Kombat X has successfully been rated R and will be released in this country without issue.
Thank fuck.
That is good.
The pain I went through last time was borderline unbearable until like pre-order special edition. Like I'm a diehard Mortal Kombat fan.
Yeah.
Last time, and then not being able to get like I ordered it from. I broke the law, guys. Remember that? That was fun.
I bought it in New Zealand and then wrapped it in a shirt because I'm that kind of a lawbreaker where I feel like, you know,
Oh,
that's
that's
as
insulation.
hardcore. That is
yeah.
as hardcore as I get. Is
Yeah, so
I will buy a copy of a banned game, wrap it in
Well,
a shirt.
Better than sticking it.
I don't even think that's
Elsewhere.
humanly possible.
It's not. It's not.
If it was a GameCube game, maybe.
Okay, so
You know?
as far as I'm aware, it's technically like that game was. It's not anymore because it's rated.
Yeah.
Technically a prohibited import, but and a lot of people forget this, and I think I mentioned it a fortnight ago. You weren't here. You were. They're not illegal to. It's not illegal to own a refused classification game in Australia
It's illegal to
unless
sell it.
you lived in Western Australia.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm all good then.
Yeah, I think the laws mainly are just to control dissemination, not so much personal ownership.
I'm so glad that you're my lawyer, Luke.
Yeah.
Because
I can't control what you like consume in your own home,
yes.
but they can control what people sell in their shops and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the point was diehard Mortal Kombat fan, got the game, could never get the DLC stuff, and
Yeah, 'cause
then
it
had
was-
to buy
yeah,
the complete
yeah.
collection, and like I gave a fuck about playing as those characters, especially Freddy Krueger. That looked sick as hell. But anyways, I don't have to go through it this time, and it's
Yep.
such a relief. I can confidently buy pre-order stuff and know that I'm gonna get it, and
Yep.
not have my heart broken, pulled out, and smashed in front of
And then
me.
yeah, frozen and then crushed in front of your eyes. Honestly, and call me petty, but I'm most stoked about this news because I get to go to all the people who, as soon as what's the last thing that got refused classification?
Hotline
Hotline Miami, and they're like,
too.
well, Mortal Kombat's going to get banned then. And I was like, I don't think it is. Unless one of the special moves is rape,
Yeah.
which it isn't. It's super, like, it's a disastrously gory and terribly horrible
It's cartoon violence.
game.
Yeah.
Like
Cartoonish.
you know, when you look at it on paper.
Australia just has a
But
big
it's
problem with
splatter,
the sex
right?
crimes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just didn't see it happening, and lo and behold, it hasn't. So
And even then, Hotline Miami 2, the guy was like, yeah, just pirate it. Like,
yeah,
It's like, message
Alright,
received and
fine.
understood.
thanks,
but I mean, with
mate.
that game, you can just. I mean, I have a US. I mean, I'm probably not going to buy it because I never even finished the first one, which I kind of liked, but I didn't finish it, and I was kind of like, hey, this is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That
I
was
need
the
it.
same.
Yeah, I don't know if I need a sequel.
I finished it.
Yeah,
Of course you did.
but if you have a US PlayStation, I know it's available on PC, but I'm sure that PC how hard is it to acquire on PC from an external source?
Mm.
But
Heavens,
even on,
Luke, I have no idea what you're talking about.
But even on even on PS4 or PS3 or whatever, you could just have a US PlayStation Network account. I have one of those. It took me 4 minutes to set up. My postcode is what's my address? It's like any street, any town, 90210.
123 Fake Street.
Yeah.
I had to sign up for the WWE Network
Yeah.
before it was available here, and I picked a Truth and Consequences as my point of origin, which I think is like 18621 or something.
Yeah.
That's the coolest of all postcodes.
Nice.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I listen to your, card chats.
I listen to your card chats. All right, so we're even. So that's, you currently owe me one.
All right.
I'm going to talk about card chats.
God damn it.
Speaking of some
Card chats.
violent, adults-only, straight-up sick shit, the Disney catalog is coming to Netflix in Australia, which is,
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think
quite a good get.
It is, yeah. I mean, they've got the partnership over in the US, and it's traveling over here, which is great, and that means basically, I mean, of course, we get certain Disney films and Disney-related films, but we also get Pixar, and of course, moving forward, all the Marvel properties as well.
Do we get the TV shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like they've only announced.
Yeah.
They've only announced some so far. I mean, this is the thing with Netflix in general in Australia, is that they are still holding their cards really close to their chest, even though it actually comes out next month.
I'm gonna watch that. So much of That's So Raven.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting in the press release that they sent out about this news. They sort of, they were kind of highlighting very sort of they were almost highlighting really odd.
They were highlighting odd ones, weren't they?
Yeah, sort of odd shows.
Yeah,
but I suppose what they were trying to do is kind of illustrate the breadth of what we might see from Disney, I presume. But yeah, I mean, what's cool about this is that, for a lot of us, is that we do get to see things like the Disney animation catalog moving forward. So I imagine we will get Big Hero 6 more or less round about the same time as it appears on Netflix US and of course the Marvel
Guardians
stuff.
of the Galaxy will be there exclusively. Like this, isn't it?
Guardians won't be there from day one.
No, but like they'll have exclusive streaming.
Yeah.
To that,
yeah. So I mean, it is. Yeah, it's a fantastic win, even though I suppose for Netflix it's one of their lesser battles to fight, I think.
You would hope. That's the thing, is like they're kind of playing it up as something we should be excited about, and we are, but like it's really just about kind of, that should be the expectation. The expectation should be that the American stuff is all ported across, and that's clearly not going to be the reality.
Well, it's not the case with the UK one.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
I heard that the Brazilian one has one of the most robust.
Oh, really?
Libraries.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna create.
Well, I wonder whether it's because are there any competing streaming services in Brazil? Like, what's the infrastructure down there like? Like.
Well, all I
tell
know
us.
is that Max
Tell us.
I played Max Payne 3.
I didn't see anybody streaming television.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is a really difficult. I will say, even though Netflix has the name and it's got the brand and it's certainly got the catalog over in the United States, it's like it's a really difficult market that they're entering into in Australia, because not only do we have these burgeoning competitors like Stan and Foxtel are getting into the video on demand market now. But yeah, there's also Foxtel that owns the rights to so many of those massive properties that are available on Netflix in the States but will not be available here.
Yeah.
But they'll expire.
That's the kind of hope and dream for everyone, because by all accounts Netflix is going to cost around about the same dollar as it does in the US.
So like $10 a month.
Around about that, yeah. So that's what they've said. They haven't actually officially
They're going to round it up
announced. a price point yet, but
And if you're there,
No, the Aussie dollar's going to tank this year. They'll round it up to 20.
yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where they sort of kick it off from.
And it'll also be interesting to see, like, in terms of kind of the lucrativeness of it, like, I wonder, what the terms are with Fox still. Like, I mean, obviously, like, it's just hard to say. Like, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. Like, which one is gonna, because ultimately it's gonna be a business decision. Which one's gonna make us more money at the end of the day? So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's really fascinating, and of course, the other thing I didn't mention is that they have to compete with their own subscribers who are already here in Australia.
Yeah.
They already make. I mean, surely that's not a thing. I mean,
Yeah,
they already
because,
make.
like-
They're already paying customers.
yeah, and you actually, like, if you want to jump between the American to the UK account, you just change the setting on your geo
Yeah.
reroute. Like, it'd be like a matter of turning it off.
Yeah.
I imagine I won't have to get a new Netflix account. I would just turn off my geo blocker or whatever.
I don't
Totally. I mean,
really though, because like
that's-
you're paying Netflix America, like that's going to be a different thing, surely. Like the money, the trail of money is
That's yeah.
It all leads to the same hole.
yeah,
It
but,
does.
But even so, like IGN in Australia versus IGN in America,
It's all
like
pipes.
it's all part of the same
gonna get the pee
company,
pipes.
but like it makes a difference to each territory where the money
Absolutely,
is going.
absolutely.
I'm talking about
and
from the user end though. Like that's.
oh yeah, from the user end,
But
it's
will they just be like whatever, just switch around like?
well, at the moment, I mean, basically they've come out saying, look, there's actually nothing we can do because there's just too many. There are too many people who are already subscribed to Netflix US.
Some estimates say there's 200,000 people.
Yeah,
Seems like a lot of
there
people.
are a lot
Yeah.
apparently.
Just me and Tristan signed up 100,000 times.
But I do wonder what that means. I mean, again, like this isn't. I'm not an expert on the kind of inner workings of this, but I do wonder what it means for, like, for example, when the Foxtel licenses expire, like, they need to have a robust user base in order to make
Justify
that
it,
argument,
yeah.
right? So yeah, I just like it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out and whether people actually embrace Netflix here in Australia.
I'm not going to switch across to the Australian one unless I can relive the highs and the lows of the Ross and Rachel relationship. So that's the key for me.
You might not get Friends, but have you considered all the Australian classics that you'd be missing out by not getting an Australian count?
Prisoner.
Round the Twist.
Oh yeah.
Genie from Down Under.
Yeah.
Perhaps
Ship to shore.
Ship to Shore.
He-
Maybe
see,
even
here's
the
the thing.
Ocean Girl
Here's the
saga.
thing.
Nice.
You're missing the one thing.
Spellbinders.
You're missing the one thing that'll make me shift across.
Hey, It's
Saturday.
Hey, Hey, It's Saturday.
No, well,
But Hey Hey It's Saturday has its own
they have their own
subscription.
bespoke
really?
service.
Yeah.
But that's what's
Yeah.
incredible.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, It's Saturday.
Yes.
has its own-
The entire archive of the entire run of the show is available to stream for only
Like $10 a month or something.
$50
like.
a year or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
There's someone.
but it's an actual thing.
Yes.
It's an actual thing.
Someone's job is to digitize. Hey, Hey, it's Saturday.
the amount of money they're gonna make. Like, how is that justified? It's crazy.
I mean, Pluck a Duck memes are on an all-time high right now. Holy that's a thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually a
What
thing.
a time to be alive.
Pluck a
Yeah.
duck. Pluck a
Imagine
duck.
the person that made that decision.
Imagine
Like,
being the
like
person.
going,
Imagine the
yes.
person that's like, I'm gonna watch 20 years of Hey Hey It's Saturday, starting from the first episode.
Yeah.
Like,
Because that stuff would have to be captured in real time. Because
Yeah.
yeah,
at the very
it's on
least,
tape.
it's going to be on tape.
It's on tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they've got it all. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's
Will
generally
they
not
have
the case.
Will they have the balls to put on that highly controversial Michael Jackson red faces routine? Is it uncut? Is it?
Yeah. Good
Holy
point.
shit! That was a fuck awful TV show.
Yeah, it was terrible. And now
I
we
used
have
to
it
watch
all.
it all the time.
What are they gonna call it? Dick
When I was a
flicks?
kid.
Dicky flicks? Aussie.
So did Lucy. She
Yeah.
used to watch it a week later.
I
Yeah.
did.
Aussie Oz flicks. It's. I went back and actually watched like an episode on YouTube. It's gonna be like one of the most misogynist, fucking racist, like pile of shit TV shows I've
So
ever
it's
seen.
quintessentially Australian.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very indicative of how I grew up. It made me the man I am today.
Classic 1992.
Yeah. Where in the world is Joe Beth Taylor?
Man, we are news blasting it today. Oh, good question.
Item number 3.
Oh, God. As long as it's not a giant can of worms, it should all be good, right? As long as this
as long
Yeah.
as this isn't going to be a contentious discussion.
I don't think anyone's got any feelings about
No,
this.
not
one.
at all. I know, I don't.
We can just gloss over this. This has generated very little discussion that I've noted. The Ghostbusters.
Are you for it or against it, Becca?
Ghostbusters cast has been announced.
The Ghostbusters cast is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
I mean, look, I think we've all seen some of the backlash on the internet. I don't know.
I don't think it's possible to have seen all of it.
Yeah.
We've seen some
There's
of
a
it.
lot
No,
of
I
it.
think it would. The backlash is now endless.
Yeah. I've thought about this a
Okay.
bit.
Uh-huh.
I think if you're allowed to vote, you can't complain about having your childhood ruined because you don't have a childhood anymore. It exists in the past and is untamperable with.
That's pretty
And
profound.
I can respect the fact that you might be upset that they won't make. I can understand the fact that you'd be upset that they're not going to make another Ghostbusters movie. But if you're a grown man that has a problem with that, I don't respect you at all. I can understand you, but it doesn't mean I have to respect you. Grow the fuck up. You don't get a say in what happens in children's entertainment anymore, unless you create it. So suck my fucking dick.
I think the one thing that's really interesting. And I'm not going to get too much into this because I have strong feelings on it, and I just can't be bothered. But like
It is tiring to think
it is.
about.
It's really exhausting just thinking about it. So, but my sort of thoughts are there was a whole generation, like so many men constantly think, this is my childhood. This is my childhood being tampered
This
with.
is my time.
This is
our
mine.
time.
But what they
If
forget,
they make another Goonies, I'm going to flip out.
what so many of them don't realize, these grown men now in their 30s, is that it was also our childhood. And I'm talking about girls, myself included. Like I loved Ghostbusters. I had
If
a
we wanted to
makeshift-
be Ghostbusters, of course you would too. Like
still
they
Of
do,
course,
right?
yeah.
Who doesn't still love Ghostbusters?
Exactly.
It's not about gender. It's about the proton packs and the insanity of
And
it
you
all.
could have been the receptionist for the Ghostbusters. I mean, that's cool.
Lucy, do the receptionist.
But listen. I'm on a thing. You know,
Sorry,
I had
Sophie.
this cereal box strapped to my back that my dad helped me make. You know, I
remember the story.
I was a massive fan when I was a kid, and the truth of it is that during the 80s, we didn't really. I'm talking about girls. Is that all our heroes were guys? All of them were guys, and because that was the era of, Bill Murray and well. I'm sort of going on a strange SNL tangent here by saying John Candy, but they were our heroes, right? And little girls these days, I feel, deserve new heroes. And sure, it is a little bit contentious to reboot Ghostbusters as with a female cast, but at the same time, my God, we had our Ghostbusters movie and we loved it and it was fantastic. And by casting females for a new generation of viewers is not going to take away, as Baker said, it's not going to take away what we had. It's just going to give little girls, hopefully, like me during the 80s, something cool to look up to that we never had.
But even gender aside, like, as people who like Ghostbusters, don't we want a new Ghostbusters to stand the best possible chance of being good?
Yeah.
Isn't that just all it comes down to? Like, what, like, this, it would be so easy for it to be disastrous. Don't we just want it to be good? Like, shouldn't we forget gender and just go, okay, the people they've cast are funny, the director and those people, like, it's kind of, it's gonna work,
That is
right?
such a good point. And like,
Who fucking cares what gender they are?
Exactly. Even gender aside, like this is the thing that really frustrates me. Even gender aside, these are fantastic comedians.
Yeah.
They are fantastic. Okay, I know Melissa McCarthy is the one that everyone's like, oh, no, Melissa McCarthy. But the truth of it is that I think she's fantastic in an ensemble. And you've also got Kristen Wiig in there. and it's just
she's awesome.
yeah, but like Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon as well, and both of them are SNL like stalwarts at the moment, and they're all fantastic. They're all fantastic comedians who came from like improv backgrounds, and that's exactly how it was when they made Ghostbusters in the 80s. These aren't actresses. They didn't begin as actresses. They are comedians. And that is so much truer to the spirit of the original Ghostbusters than it would be just casting a bunch of like dudes. Like, you know what I mean? These are like, I mean, a lot of the names that I've seen thrown around, for example, is they should have cast this guy, and it's just like, I don't know, like freaking Seth Rogen and you know, and it's just like, this is way more true to the spirit. And again, with Paul Feig in charge, who I think is a fantastic director of ensemble comedy, I think it stands a really good chance of being an excellent movie. Sure, it's not going to be the same, but it could be something really interesting. And as much as I always say, God, I wish people would have more of an open mind about these sort of things, I know I'm arguing against a brick wall. But yeah, that's how I feel about it.
But fucking, you know what? Like, all these whingers, who fucking cares what they think? Like, ultimately, they're going to make the film they're going to make. And if we enjoy it, that's a massive bonus for us.
Yeah.
There are always going to be people bitching and moaning about stuff, and that's their problem. I mean, you know, obviously it impinges on other people, and it impinges on internet culture and geek culture and that kind of stuff, but they should just, as Baker said, grow the fuck up.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, again, I just had the most...
But, you know, when you're 11 or 12, I guess it's hard to say that.
And women are awful.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, like, I feel bad because if you want to be taken seriously right now and have a female perspective on this thing, you do have to pussyfoot around the fact that these are grown men acting like fucking children. And you can't just go, grow up, you big fucking baby, because that's... I don't know. I'm so disappointed right now with so much of this shit that I read. And I know
but it's really disappointing because the people who are angry are people... Because, again, we all grew up with Ghostbusters. This isn't a generation complaining about, like, Pokemon. Like, we grew up... These people complaining and having these big whinges are people who are our age. And that is what gets me. Because it's like, that means that they're probably... in their late 20s, early 30s, and that depresses the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's the part that makes me mad.
Humanity is depressing, though.
Isn't it, though?
No, but it
just
is.
so depressing?
But it is. I just wish, like, some fucking big media would just come along and just take us all out.
Like the dinosaurs.
Like the dinosaurs.
That's something else.
Maybe like a reptilian run.
But if you think about it, like,
super disease.
you know, the dinosaurs being wiped out was the worst thing that ever happened to this planet. Gave rise to this virus called humanity.
But
it also shows, like, I was telling these guys earlier today, like, I was having a lively discussion with a fella at a party last weekend, and he was saying that he thought Paul Feig was a terrible writer and that it was a terrible cast and that it was all going to be terrible. And he said, I don't care about the female aspect, it's just that Paul Feig is terrible and the cast is terrible. So I was challenging him on that. In a lively manner.
Why does he give a shit?
Oh, well, whatever. Anyway, and, you know, one of his arguments was, believe it or not, well, the original cast were comedians who came from SNL. And I honestly, there was a sort of part of me that was just like, well, that actually, and I sort of, anyway, I'm not going to get into too much detail
kind of,
because
what you're saying is, like, it's that uninformed opinion. It's a knee-jerk
this is a very
thing that you know. And so you can't actually, you're not on the same playing field because when somebody's ignorant, then that's
it gets to a point where you sort of just give up, don't you?
Yeah.
But
I hate arguing on the internet so fucking much.
Yeah, but this wasn't even on the internet. This was face to face in person.
That has bled into
reality
where it's no longer, here's my point and here's why I have a problem with this. It's now, I have to find the angle that will allow me to create just enough hole to pile all of my bullshit in there. And it doesn't matter if I really believe it. I'm just going to say it. I don't have to prove myself right. I just have to find some fucking technicality that you're wrong on. And I can't handle it. I'm going to cut my head off and kick it into the street, guys.
Same.
Or-
Let's move on.
or
It's
don't-
embarrassing because it's
don't limit use of the internet.
One-
That's social media. Like
I
I
only
just
play
don't
the-
engage with
Hey,
it.
all I do is I look up wrestling statistics and play Binding of Isaac. That's all I
Nice.
do on the internet anymore.
All I do is watch Hearthstone tournaments.
I was going to say my favorite thing that I saw out of all this is somebody was sitting there going, oh, all these guys are complaining about like this property from, the 80s and, it's going to be remanufactured solely with a female focus and stuff. And then it's like, has anybody fucking seen what happened to My Little Pony in the last fucking
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
that is what we should be worried about. But we're making fucking Netflix documentaries about like what a fucking hug party that shit is.
yeah.
I don't know. I have to knife fight someone in the street. I feel so unhappy today, guys.
I find it to me it's kind of just it's embarrassing on the level for me it's embarrassing at is that there are so many remakes, particularly these days.
Yeah.
Like there are loads of remakes. Some of them are very mediocre. Some of them are really quite poor that I don't enjoy at all, and some of them are quite decent. And the most embarrassing part of the discussion that I find is the people that are trying to. I don't know whether they're trying to convince themselves or they're trying to convince outsiders or observers that this isn't about women. It's about
It's about ethics
it's
and
about-
journalism.
It's about Ghostbusters and it's about ruining everything.
Yeah.
It's like, but why Ghostbusters?
I
You know,
feel-
they remake
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Last year they remade fucking RoboCop, and they remade this, and they remade that. And
You
they,
should
they're
be-
currently remaking probably
Yeah.
20 or 30
I was
films.
very
You should
upset
be
by that.
protesting in the streets of Hollywood right
Yeah.
now because if
But
that's
they
your
didn't
objection,
remake. But that's the thing. They didn't remake RoboCop with a female police officer. They remade him with a dude and that sort of stuff. So I feel
just-
like
And it was just a non-event.
I feel like you're being disingenuous when
I-
you're saying, "Oh, it's not about this. It's
But that-
it's about
that sta-
remaking the movie." It's
That
like,
statement
but they've
is
remade movies forever.
I feel like that is usurped. Like this isn't about women. It's just about dirt. Is the new I'm not racist, but
Yeah.
like that's the
Kinda.
new like oh
And-
you're
and-
about to
and-
spew some really crazy fucking shit after this.
But,
like
but honestly, another one of this, I do want to move on, but like another one of the sort of more tragic kind of fallouts from this whole announcement was that I had a lot of people I had a couple of guys on Twitter tweeting at me that they thought that it was going to be a disaster, and I asked them why, and they said that they thought the ensemble was terrible, and then they, without me asking, offered their Ghostbusters cast, which comprised of Jennifer Lawrence, Emma Stone,
Martin Lawrence
Kendrick,
dressed
Anna
as a woman.
Kendrick, and someone else. But basically, what they were saying is young, hot, like, albeit very talented,
Yeah.
but young, hot women.
Yeah.
And they were like, these are the women that would be worthy of Ghostbusters. And then I was just like, this just shows so much wrong with the
Lucy,
way that you view
are
women.
you forgetting how hot the original Ghostbusters cast was?
Exactly.
Dan
Yeah, I mean-
Aykroyd?
And Aykroyd.
I mean more like
What is-
damn Aykroyd. I'd like to get a fill of dat Murray. I got myself a big Ernie Hards on right here. Blah 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 blah.
Don't do the next one.
All right. Suck my prick, Moranis.
Oh!
No,
But
you
yeah.
can do Hit Me Still Alive.
But that and I thought that really spoke volumes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like to
Hey,
get
look,
Egon
we're okay with
Ghost
women in our
Banglers.
films as long as they're super hot.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig is horribly unattractive.
Yeah.
Just
Ah.
terrible.
And
to
you've
look
got
at.
you've got a woman of color in that cast, and you've got a woman who is quite large, and you've got a gay woman. So therefore,
all the worst.
it's like all the
ones!
worst things.
I can't fuck her.
Yeah,
Lame.
like it's a
Boo.
super diverse cast in terms of you know
10 thumbs. down.
bodies and sexuality and race and that sort of thing. So of course they're going to complain.
Oh god, sorry, I don't even know where I stand anymore.
Yeah.
In the
Oh
street
my
with a
God.
knife.
News blast.
And okay, and I guess this is one of the things that kind of this on the back of our discussion, our very brief discussion of Ghostbusters. This one, which has been not as poorly received, because he's kind of like, with all due respect to this guy, who I really like, and I really enjoy watching him, but this news hasn't been received with anywhere near the disgust that you'd anticipate, considering the sheer seminal nature of the character that he's been touted as replacing.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford as. Chris Pratt has been rumored as a possible replacement for an Indiana Jones reboot. All of a sudden, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, that's perfect."
Yeah.
Well, he is the modern day Tom Hanks.
What?
He's just in everything. And he's
Well,
gonna be
yeah,
in
no, he
everything.
isn't. Yeah.
And then he's not.
He's
gonna
the
be
modern day Tom Hanks, except Tom Hanks never ever became that sort of bulky, muscly, dreamboaty kind of.
It wasn't expected of him at the time.
No, it definitely it wasn't. But that's what Pratt's got on his side, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't have a problem with this because we nearly had fucking Shia LaBeouf as the fucking Indiana Jones heir apparent at one point, and that was fucking terrifying.
See, I don't have as big a problem with that guy. Like, the guy is obviously kind of a dirtbag and a
Yeah.
weirdo.
He is a
A
dirtbag.
super weirdo. But
He's
like,
a real
I don't have
dirtbag.
a problem with dirtbags and weirdos.
yeah,
alright?
yeah. But like, he's kind of cool. Like, I watched Fury, and he was fucking awesome in Fury.
Okay, I watched Nymphomaniac, and again, I'm gonna cut my head off and kick it in the street.
Yeah.
But,
I've also watched Nymphomaniac and Nymphomaniac Part 2.
Anyways, moving on. Yeah, I don't know. This doesn't.
And he also
really-
didn't he do that weird video where like someone was doing a musical of him being a cannibal,
Yeah.
but he
Oh.
he featured in it?
Yeah, at the end. But
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, the Indiana Jones character is.
Weird.
I watched Crystal Skull again, and it made me really clear to me that it's not necessarily Harrison Ford that was the part that makes it exciting for me.
Mm.
It's about this jet-setting, worldly everyman that gets to
Mhm.
whip whips and make out with Nazis, and
Yep.
like I like that stuff, and that's the stuff that I like to see, because when I see Indiana Jones not doing that shit, I'm like, it's just a dude in a hat.
Yeah, it is a dude in a hat, yeah.
I don't mind them.
But you got to admit, in Crystal Skull, he was so old.
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's the
Like,
thing.
and that really took away from.
Isn't that what he's saying?
But they
But
didn't
that's exactly what I'm
but
saying, when
at
Indiana
least-
Jones
I
doesn't-
hear you, but at least they never pretended that he wasn't old.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like when he doesn't do the Indiana Jonesy stuff, I don't like the movie. So I was like, I must like him running away from boulders more than I like
Yeah.
seeing Harrison Ford. No matter how old he is, like
In a hat.
I would-
Indiana Jones is an icon.
Like,
I
like
would
you see,
arg-
you see Bill Murray and stuff, and you're like, it's Bill fucking Murray.
Yeah,
like, you know, like
yeah.
that's still exciting. There's actors that you like to see. I mean, I'm not a Star Wars guy. I don't know if we've ever mentioned that before.
I was not aware.
Wait, what?
But I loved Indiana Jones as a kid, and it turns out that it's the minecart riding that I'm into.
Yeah.
I like seeing.
See,
Indy do
it's
that.
it's really interesting, because I suddenly sort of think, am I being a hypocrite because I do have a certain, like, I sort of think, oh God, well, who can be as good as Harrison Ford? But I suppose that's the same thing as saying who could be as good as Bill Murray.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think in terms of Chris Pratt, the only sort of thing that I would have to say about it is that, like, one thing about Indy was that he was really, he had an edge to him, that character, and it was like quite a dark edge.
He was a murderer.
He was a total murderer.
He would just murder dudes
Yeah.
all the I love
Bang.
that about
He
him.
was, but he was gruff even when he was in his 30s. You know, he was gruff and kind of like world weary. And I like to think that Chris Pratt is, he's
Chris
very
Pratt.
much, he's really hot right now, and and like I hope that ultimately, if the indie thing does pan out, that he can bring
Yeah.
that edge to the character, because
Yeah.
like a lot of people were like, oh well, his character in Jurassic Park looks really dark, and I sort of will have to say, well, no, he doesn't. He just
He's
looks
talking to fucking dinosaurs.
He just looks a bit sort of generic, like, I'm a warden, and
Yeah.
he doesn't even speak
We
like that.
haven't really seen it though. Like it's a trailer. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that these people are right. I'm not saying they're wrong. The only thing I know about Chris Pratt is that every time I think he really can't do something, I'm kind of proven wrong.
Yeah, that's a fair enough.
But that's
he
a good
shot
point.
fucking Osama in the head, and then he was Starkiller, and
Yeah.
then he was the Lego Man,
Yeah.
and he married Aubrey Plaza in Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's clearly good at the acting, and I think, fuck it, there's worse people that could be doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
I don't know. I mean, it'd be one of those things, when it comes out, I watch it, if I like it, yeah, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I do think Indiana Jones is like, we do marry the character to Harrison Ford so much, but then we got a new one with Harrison Ford, and universally
And
fucking
everyone
panned
hated it,
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing that I always take it back to, and this, and I don't know. Hopefully this is helpful insight, because like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is literally my favorite movie of all time, and will always be. I can flat out say on this podcast right now that I will never see a movie that I will like more than Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That's such an interesting choice of indie films to be your favorite as well.
It's just
it's so the best of them.
It's the father
I
son.
so disagree.
It's so the best.
But
of
like, no, I love
Yeah,
it. I love Last Crusade.
it's
But
this-
like
the
what I'm saying is that
adventure-
everyone has a personal Indiana Jones
Yeah.
movie, right?
Yeah, like I have a
them.
friend.
Temple of Doom is great, Lucy.
Temple of
Don't
Doom.
get me wrong.
No, listen. Temple of Doom is actually my favorite indie movie.
I was about to say,
And
I have a friend of
know,
mine.
and I know. Can I just say,
Yeah.
it has so many problems. It is so fucking sexist.
Is
It
it?
is so-
Is it because of the age you were at when you watched it? Because I loved it as a kid too.
I love
Oh,
Spielberg
But I
made
I dislike
I
it
love
now.
it too.
I loved and love Temple of Doom because it is just it's got so many like different genres in one. Like it's got horror with the
It was so
with the
dark,
it was
though.
so freaking
Yeah,
dark. It was so by
Indiana
far the darkest indie
Indy
movie.
murders the most people in that movie. He kills like 20 people, cold-blooded. And it's because fucking Spielberg was going through a divorce when he made that film.
Yeah, but he was also fucking the lead.
Yeah, but
So-
that was what. Yeah, but
He tried to save the big guy before he got squashed by the roller thing.
no,
It was
he
like,
used him as a fucking ballast.
But you know,
Like,
it's got
felt
that
bad
sort of
about
like
it,
the sort of 40s musical aspect to it. It's got this. It's got it's action. It's just got so much in one, and it had short rounds, so that appealed to me as a child as well.
as a small Asian boy.
But I
you
do
were-
yeah I do recognize. You're right, Cam. I do recognize because watching it on retrospect, like it is for me, it is so sexist. Like
Right.
it is just so like it's almost unbearably like, oh, how the hell did they get this kind of past the line in that day and age? But I can't help it. It was the movie that I loved. It was the indie movie that I loved as a child, and I watched it so many times. But I do think that it's everyone has their own favorite indie movie.
Yeah.
And I love it that yours is The Last Crusade because
Well, thank you.
I love The Last Crusade as well.
Yeah, and it's like it's just that movie, the perfect movie for that I watched when I was a kid, and it just resonates with me, and it will resonate with me forever. And I was actually about to say, I even have a friend who loves Temple of Doom the most. What?
Lucy!
And it's me.
But it wasn't
Yeah.
Lucy, it was somebody else. Now I
Oh.
have two friends who love Temple of
You
Doom.
got two
Yeah.
retarded friends.
Yeah.
But
It's true though.
Yeah, and
I had
Can
this.
can I raise
and
a-
I'm as cynical as I'm as cynical as the
Yeah.
next guy in general. And some remakes I look at and go, oh, who's making this? Oh, this guy, really? But
to test earlier you were sorry, yeah.
yeah, sorry, no. But to show-
You do your thing.
Okay, but I have to think back, and I have to place myself back in the past here, and I have to sort of a lot of presumption comes along with this. But there was a point in history where some bloke came along and replaced Sean Connery as James Bond.
Yeah.
You know, like George Lazenby got casted as the new James Bond, and it's like, well, you know what? This, not accounting for the length of time between sort of indie installments, is like there was a big gap between the last one and the third one and then the fourth one, and they're thinking about rebooting it, or whatever they call it. It's like, well, yes and no. There's good things and there's bad things about rebooting films and all sorts of stuff, but there's no reason why Indiana Jones can't be a James Bond-like character who gets recast every generation.
And it's a fairly untapped genre. Like
Yeah,
how many
like
fucking
pulp adventure serials.
how many Batman have we had now? Like
Yeah.
How many
so
Batman?
many Batman.
So many Batman.
I was gonna raise before though.
And a Birdman.
I don't know if
and a single Birdman.
people did lose their fucking mind when they found out that Ben Affleck was gonna be the latest of the Batman. Like they way harder than
Yeah.
this Pratt thing. I don't know, nerds are gonna fucking nerd rage. That's
People,
how
people lost their mind when
I will
Heath Ledger was going to be the latest of the Jokers.
Yeah, and now it's gonna be
The 30 Seconds from Mars guy.
yeah, but did you see Dallas Buyers Club?
Yeah,
like,
no, he's got the Academy Award winning 30 Seconds from Mars guy.
yeah, it's like the most fucking diminutive way you could talk about a heavily awarded actor.
Yeah.
The 30 Seconds from Mars guy.
Yeah, it was at 30 Seconds from Mars. It won, an Academy Award, I guess.
Yeah, yes. That's it.
Hey, my cousin Vinny.
But
I will say that one of the interesting things about the difference between Pratt being considered as Indy and Affleck being announced as Batman is that it really shows that there is a cult of Nolan that exists in fandom that is just so unbelievably rabid. But and they essentially. That is what I think we saw with the Affleck thing. Like,
maybe they should have just got Michael Caine to replace, Chris. What's his face? Christian Bale as Batman.
But that, I think that they would have been more satisfied. They would have been more satisfied with that than with Affleck.
Maybe Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just think that people still see Ben Affleck in a certain way despite all the great stuff he's done.
Yeah.
Nolan kind of aside, whereas Chris Pratt is flavor of the month.
He hasn't had that many missteps though.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he hasn't had the career. He hasn't had a long enough career to make missteps.
For me,
the
he
major properties that he's been working on, one after another. He's picking the right things.
But he's still really new. I mean, think about it. What has he done? He's done Parks and Rec, and that's sort of how we all got to know him.
Yeah, first he did Zero Dark 30.
That's right. He did Zero Dark 30, which a lot of people sort of forget that he did.
That's why he got the Guardians of the Galaxy role, because he took a selfie of himself in that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw him in that shit, I was like, "Fuck, it's Andy," and he just shot Bin Laden.
That's it. But then that's
to me,
kind of it. That's
yeah.
kind of it. That's his. Whereas Affleck has got so much.
He was so great in Mallrats.
But I don't know.
I mean, Affleck had.
He was the bomb in Phantoms.
You got to admit that,
Was that?
He was the bomb in Phantoms.
Fuck off. Pratt was. He was a bit of a goof, but he was genuinely cool in Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, I thought he was great.
Oh, that movie was
great.
fucking amazing.
The Star Killer character, you see him, and there's that scene where he's first coming through the thing, and he's got the jacket on, he's flying there, he's throwing the ball
What are
down.
you calling him? Star-Lord?
Star-Lord, sorry.
Yeah.
Star Killer is the fucking guy from the
I just
Force
thought that-
Unleashed movies.
I was thinking of Battlestar.
I just thought that was his own cute little
that-
nickname for him.
That was the working surname for the
Yeah,
guy.
but then they made it the name for the
Luke
Force Unleashed
Skywalker.
games.
Yeah. That you haven't.
Anyway, so wait, what did Starbreeze do next?
Or Starburst.
So, Lord Starburst.
Lord Skittles.
There's that scene at the start. There's... Fuck off.
There's that scene.
So
at the start.
Snickers, what does Snickers do next?
Prattles fucking comes in, and that whole first sequence had such an Indiana Jones vibe. Even calls the ball the Ark of a Covenant kind of thingy. And you look at it, and then you look at him as Indiana Jones, and you go, all right, well, I know where they got the idea from, but it fucking works for me. That works for me, maybe rough him up a little bit, make him a little bit happy to shoot a dude for no fucking reason, which probably isn't going to happen as much in a movie put out now anyways, that kind of ruthless murderer thing. We know that because an Indiana Jones movie came out. He didn't really murder that many people.
Oh, it's so disappointing.
He blew a blowpipe back into a dude's throat, and that's the only time you see him kill a guy.
Didn't he leave a guy to get eaten by ants? I only watched that movie once.
Yeah, but when you leave someone to die and you don't see it doesn't register.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't count.
Like when I left my kid in the car park of that shopping center.
Oh, you didn't crack the window?
I mean... fuck, I'll be back. It's not going to be that movie anyways. They're not going to be the Indiana Jones movie. This is the kind of thing. It'll be a new reboot. It'll give a chance of maybe not shitting on the things that had happened completely beforehand.
Hey, so...
we need to move on to
hours.
Baker's special
We
project.
do. Because I was going to say we should actually news blast the rest of the news, but we've got a special feature
Yes.
before we can do that.
Well, you told me to plan ahead, which
I
is
did.
always a bad sign for me.
The news is that Jace Hall, formerly of Monolith,
Formerly of the
Happy
Jace Hall
Feet.
show on IGN.
Yeah. Happy Feet
Do
the
you remember
game.
that?
No.
That was many years ago.
Jason the Hall, that classic Canadian comedy.
Who is actually the owner of the rights to Condemned currently. It has put out the the feelers, so to speak, to see if there are any indie studios that would be willing to take on the brand, which is sitting idle right now, not doing anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't have time to do anything with it.
But he's
To make Condemned 3.
And Cam knows that I've always been a big advocate for the Condemned series.
Yep.
One of them, I'd say probably one of the front runners in the disgraced ex-police officer drunken hobo fighting genre.
Yep.
So he told me to come up with my own pitch
Mm-hmm.
in hopes that maybe I could light a fire under somebody. Maybe
Jace Hall.
Jace
We're going
Hall.
to cut.
Ben
This
Baker
segment-
Interactive.
We're going to cut this segment of the podcast out, and we're just going to mail it to Jace Hall
Yeah.
as a pitch for Condemned 3.
So I scrolled out about a page and a half of an idea.
Yep.
All right.
And then you crossed out the first
I
paragraph.
crossed out the post paragraph, and I kind of wish I didn't now. But anyways, all right. So you want to read?
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Yes, here we go.
This is my Condemned pitch, all right? So in the last one, it was this kind of like psychological mind thriller with paranormal elements and secret cults, but wrapped in the frame of a guy that used to be a forensic police officer that got disgraced and became homeless and spent most of his time drinking out of dumpsters and bashing homeless dudes.
Drinking out of dumpsters.
No, seriously, like the first scene, he's like finding booze in a dumpster.
Yeah.
You just grabbed bottles from anywhere and you would chug them and then just throw them in people's faces. It was fucking awesome. And so, all right, so we leave off from there. Right, we leave off where the Condemned 2 has left us off. And having helped the police department track down the notorious serial killer X, Ethan, last name, finds himself with an ungrateful New York City Police Department, all right? So his life that he thought that he had is now sealed off to him. I'm going to read this out just as verbatim here, and it's going to be real bad because this is literally, I never read my own writing. Okay, so Ethan Condemned finds his life closed. I don't know his last name.
Ethan Condemned.
He finds that his previous life is sealed off to him, and he can't go back to it. And now he's living his life, living on a dirty dock, just in a complete drunken state. He's trying to piece his world together through the illustrious world of hobo prostitution.
Illustrious.
Yeah.
Is that a quick time event?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a start. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So he's trying to remold himself as from a seedy underworld hobo prostitute and an Uber X driver, and in failing that, just finds himself resting his weary body on a dirty boat on the dock. Right. As he wakes up, it's a huge typhoon's happening. Right. And the heavy seas throw Ethan, hobo handy, into their murky depths as he feels the ocean's blackened embrace rock him into oblivion, and Ethan is rendered unconscious. Unfortunately, Ethan, Drinky Punchy's prayers for death have been dashed upon the rocks as a bright sun wakes him to reveal that he's washed up on the bleached shores of Australia's Gold Coast. Welcome to Condemned 3, Blood on the Sand. Utilizing his knack for beating up junkies and tolerance to substance abuse, Ethan, insert last name joke here, uses his skills to become a large-scale music festival manager. And you, the player, will bare fist box fence jumpers, use environmental kills over overzealous opening band acts, and use your forensic skills to score drugs for special guests like world-renowned DJ Tiesto. Blood, terror, and overpriced standard drinks can't take the main stage in this real psychological horror as we have Condemned 3, Slit Wristband, now available, early access at any City Beach retail outlet near you.
That's better than I could possibly have imagined.
It is a gear shift. I'll admit that.
No. Setting it in as bleak a place as the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
is
you weren't
inspired.
here. You weren't here for the last podcast, but I spent a holiday in the Gold Coast, and I haven't had a lot good to say about it, as evidenced by my pitch.
I listened to it.
Yeah.
I just love that he's a promoter, a festival promoter now.
Yeah, you might get to meet Avicii and score him pingers. I just figured, like, what else are you going to do with that skill set?
Yep.
Apart from... And what's a seedier underworld than drunken homeless people fighting? Managing Future Music Festival.
Yep. That's genius.
Yeah. Think
All
of
right.
the promotional singlets.
Yeah, I am now. All right, let's pound through the rest of this news.
Let's literally news
Sony
blast
sells
it.
6.4 million PS4s in the last quarter.
Good on you,
That's-
diggers.
Yeah.
That's a
Move
lot.
on.
That's a lot of PS4s.
Fee slice.
GTA 5 ships 45 million copies. Apparently 10 million copies of that are on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yep.
Which up until I heard that Sony shipped 6.4 million PS4s in the last quarter, seemed like an astonishing attach rate. Now it just seems like a pretty good attach rate.
Yep.
Because think of, like how many PS4s out there? 12, 15 million?
There's
I don't know.
3 in my house.
Yeah. And they
Oh
ship
fuck!
10
So 3 in every house on average.
Yeah.
That's not very good at all.
That's like.
That means everyone. That means everyone who owns a PS4 owns 1.5 copies of GTA 5.
We own 2, so there you go.
There you
Close
go.
enough.
Wow. The maths works.
I guess
The-
there's that like really like difficult. Well, not difficult, but that sort of vagary between cells and ships, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Still a big number.
I mean,
But like
obviously,
but so many people read ships as cells
Yeah,
because that's what it sort of
obviously-
reads like.
there's a lot of Target stores out there. With just the
Exactly.
stock sitting there.
Yeah.
There's Target stores made out of PS4 boxes
Yeah.
right now.
The Ouya is going to
Ouya.
China. Just
Ooh yeah.
why?
I don't...
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's only on there because it's like I thought Ouya was just a failure.
Is that a thing
and
anymore?
it's had-
Why is
like,
Ouya still a thing?
how can Ouya still be a thing?
What are they doing? Just sending back all the dead stock, or...
I don't know.
They've got like a $10 million deal with Alibaba. Not joking.
What the kebab?
Um,
The kebab chain.
The kebab chain, so you can play games while you wait for your kebab. But it's like it's a short wait. Kebabs don't take long to make. So it's like it's a failed venture on so many levels.
I read this and I didn't Google it. I just read it and went, "Huh, that's the kebab chain." But I didn't Google who it actually is. Is it not the kebab chain?
They have it's not the kebab chain.
Ah, okay.
They have like an Android variant of their own, and so I think it's about kind of their set-top box in China or their kind of like internet-enabled TVs or whatever it is, and just putting the kind of Ouya catalog
Okay,
on
yeah.
TVs in China.
Yeah.
But how many why? I don't know. Just like the whole thing confuses me. I don't really understand. It's like Nokia going like, "Hey, Engage didn't work in the West, but we're gonna go to China now because it's gonna be awesome there." It's like, no, it's shit no matter where it is. Like, what are the fucking what are you doing, you idiots?
Do you know how many Virtual Boys sold in North Korea? Couldn't keep them on the shelf.
We need to find those numbers. I guess. I mean, the thing that what they've been saying is like, China is a very kind of like free to play market, digital oriented market. Like one of the things with Ouya is that you need like a free playable demo of every game. So kind of like they're talking about like it kind of working in that market. And you know what? Like cynicism aside, like it might work. It's a very different landscape there. It's not a console dominated place in the same way that it is here.
Yeah.
And their standards for gaming excellence might be significantly lower.
You have
Well, there was
accurately been both sides of this argument.
Thank you very much.
Also,
No,
one in 6 people in the world, 1 in 6 humans in the universe live in China.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
and also their
So
new
it's a big market.
It's a big market.
The console, their new. I mean, the consoles.
Yeah,
the sort of
2014
console race
was when that was opened up.
Is new to China. Period.
Yeah.
So like I sort of feel that it's a very good business decision on
Hey,
Ouya's part.
You're totally right because like
Ouya.
we're just like okay, Ouya like not a thing anymore, but this is their like
We're
last
talking
roll of
about
the
it again.
dice that could potentially pay off. I mean, like if China's experience with gaming is like kind of smartphone gaming and stuff, like their expectations might be totally different. I don't know.
Well, it's
Somebody sent me to China to do an investigative report about gaming in China.
It is a very, very different landscape. But yeah, it is. Yeah, Ouya.
Yeah.
It's just
Luke.
weird. It's weird even saying that name aloud because it
Yeah.
is so. I remember when it first hit the market and everyone was like, "Oh, this is the future," and blah 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 blah. In the same way that Coney, everyone talked about Coney.
Yeah.
This is
What?
no.
You haven't been keeping up with Coney 2015?
Yeah.
He's still a thing.
Well,
it's
there's Coney, Gamergate, and Ouya, and I sort of put them all into the same kind
it's
of
not
Okay.
that
redundant
different. It's
basket.
a roster update and a slight graphical improvement, but it's
Right.
pretty much the same Coney
Yeah.
year.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the diehards that they're into it, so I don't know. They've got a good install base.
Coney 2K15.
Yeah.
Okay. Luigi's Mansion Arcade, developed by Capcom but announced by Sega.
I think you announced this wrong. You should have led with the arcade scene is back. Arcades have been saved. Arcade gaming forever. We've got Luigi's Mansion Arcade.
This feels like a very Japanese story.
I will be going over there to obviously check it out because, the resurgence of the arcades, it's a story.
And then so you're going to be doing, would this be on your like Asian gaming scene report?
I'm going to be
where-
Twitch streaming it.
Where you play Luigi's Mansion Arcade, then you go check out the Ouya in China.
No, I
I just wanted to hear it one more time.
was thinking more the 5th and 6th stories of that sex shop in Akihabara.
It's called M's, and you know that.
I know, yeah.
Speaking of Sega,
They downsized.
they've downsized.
Why, Luke?
I don't know.
It might
Moving on.
It might be because of our 100 most hated games of all time. They have 50 or more of them.
Yeah, 50 or
That
more.
might. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be. You don't want people to lose their jobs, etc.
Yeah.
But if anybody has to lose their jobs, I'm glad it's Sega employees.
Do you think they fired the
Did I say that out loud? I'm so sorry.
Sega.
That's not obviously how I feel, but
And for anyone outside of Australia listening, when we say Sega,
Yeah.
we mean Sega.
yeah. I mean, look, just because the console
'Cause there's
boot
a
up
fucking
sound
E
says
in it.
that, yeah.
I
But
remember I did a news video once and said Sega because it's just natural.
yeah.
And the comments.
Well, the thing is that like it's weird that we all say it, even though the console says Sega.
I know.
Like, but we're just like, fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you. Don't
This is
care.
how we say it.
I don't care. This is how we say it.
Yeah.
The main reason this is actually on the run sheet is because they kind of said, okay, we're 300 voluntary retrenchments or retirements or whatever in Japan, and the American office is moving from San Francisco to Southern California, and there's going to be some layoffs in Europe, but we're going to be focusing on PC and digital. And to me, that just says, all right, well, we really know now that we will never make a good Sonic game on console ever again, but people don't seem to care that we can put shit out on mobile and it's fine. So to me, it's just like, yeah, we're just going to refocus our energies on a market where people have a lower standard in general. So expect to see shitty Sega titles flooding mobile for the next few years.
You didn't enjoy Sonic Boom or Don't Boom?
You will be pleased to hear, Ben, that the Sonic Boom animated TV show will not be affected by these layoffs.
Thank God.
Yeah.
And before we head into the Fastbox mail blog, the Batmobile iPhone case, which is actually kind of neat, but I would never ever use it because it wouldn't fit my pants. It's pretty cool. It's got like LED lights and all that kind of crazy crap.
A real
and anybody you see
lady-
using it has
real
way too much
real
money.
lady killer of a case,
Yeah.
I would say.
I think this is here just to justify our opening gag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
I think so.
Anyway, moving on.
I was meant to come up with a new theme.
Were you?
Yeah, I think I said I would.
Did you?
No. What do you mean? Did I do it?
Did you say that you were going to do
I
that?
don't know,
Because
I
I
just-
love the
I'm
existing one.
So embarrassing to sing it every week.
But you can't like.
But it's going to be
like,
embarrassing no matter
okay,
what.
no, I got
Yeah,
wait. I got a perfect idea, and no one's gonna have a problem with whatsoever. I want to reboot, if you will, the Pubcast Mailbag theme tune. But
Are
I
we
want
gonna
it, but I want it sung by a woman.
I think you're going to say we're going to Chris
Wait,
Pratt to
wait.
sing the
What?
theme
No.
song.
Wait. I wanna.
No.
I wanna reboot the song as a rap.
Yes.
A rappin'. A rap, rappin'. Go, Baker.
Didn't we already...
Luke, drop a beat. A boom, a tss, a boom, boom, tss, ba boom, tss, a boom, boom, tss, a boom, tss, a boom, boom, tss. Come on, man.
I can wait you out.
I know you can, but you're gonna have to do a rap no matter which way you look at
I'm
it.
going to do the old song.
No,
In hindsight.
no,
I'm gonna go, look,
no. Do
What
a
about
rap.
you? Can
Do
you
a
do
rap.
can you
Do
do
a
a
rap.
smooth version of the
This
old
is
song?
when... Remember
Can
when we
you-
first had the song and you guys would request a new version of the song every podcast, and then I would just do the
A boom, a tss, a boom, boom, tss, ba
Baker,
boom,
I like
tss,
the
da
old
boom,
song.
boom, tss, ba boom.
You
Come on, man.
No.
That's
is-
great. That's
We
like
don't
that-
have time. We don't have time.
that
No, no, wait.
You know what? That reminded me of that time when I was a little kid and we stole my friend's brother's hat and said he couldn't get it back until he did the chicken and he like the chicken dance.
Yep.
And he did the chicken dance while crying, going. That's what that reminded me of. That is what that reminded me of.
New theme is.
I suddenly feel like a bully.
Oh, no.
See-
Pubcast Mailbag.
That reminds me of the. Do the truffle shuffle. Do the truffle shuffle.
God damn, I hate
Hey, wait.
All right.
Wait. Baker, do the rap.
No.
Do the rap. Do the
There's
rap.
no rap.
Do the rap.
I will leave.
Do the rap.
Lucy,
Do the rap.
Yeah.
let's do the questions.
Let's do the
God
questions.
damn
All right,
it.
Tom.
I don't want to rap.
My name's Ben Baker, and I'm here to say I'm the rappinest guy on the Pubcast today. We're opening the mailbag. It's gonna be fly. Come on, what's the next line? Come on, do it.
I hate you, Cam Shade. Wish you'd die.
Yay!
Was that so hard?
I can't.
Was that so hard?
Oh my god.
Tom Maverick Smartass
Enemy of the Pubcast.
asks, "What is?" Oh, this is a big question. What is your most anticipated 1 movies, 2 TV shows,
Oh my
3
God.
games, 4 album release / tour of 2015?
Jesus.
My answer is 3 games. That's my most anticipated.
Yeah, my most anticipated actually. Let's take it that way. Are we more hyped for movies, TV show, games, or music this year?
TV show games.
I would say TV show games. No, I would say for me movies. I
Yeah,
think this
I'd
is
say
an incredible
movies.
lineup of
I think
movies this
Star
year.
Wars, Avengers, Mad Max Fury
Jurassic
Road,
World.
Jurassic World. I mean, I'm more hyped for movies this year.
I gotta say, coming out of a shit 2014 for gaming, I'm more excited about
Yeah,
movies.
I want reasons to play my PS4, so I'm anticipating video games.
Nice. All right, Andrew Bobom Paredes. There's this really sus cat staring at me from outside. What should I do?
I think you should ask your wife about it.
Nice. Carl Resterer, in light of the Super Bowl trailer for Jurassic World, fuck, marry, kill the 3 heroes from Jurassic Park movies, Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Chris Pratt. Good question.
Oh, that's an impossible question. I couldn't kill any of those guys.
I mean,
I could picture myself having sex with them, but I couldn't kill them.
Yeah, can we just get rid of the kill and just have fucking marry all of them? Because I think that's more realistic, really.
that's got to be a really strange and tender experience with Goldblum. That's a once in a lifetime ride.
It's true. Andrew Bobom Paredes. I'm sorry if I'm saying your last name wrong. Never mind. Upon further investigation, my wife has informed me that it is our cat.
Oh, well
so
picked, Luke.
that is a really nice
Picked it like
story.
a dirty nose.
Aston Martin Hall, friend of the Pubcast, how good was your first beer after being dry for a month?
Didn't last that long.
That's a question for Cam.
Made it to Australia Day.
I literally wouldn't. I don't know. I've never been dry for a month.
I also have never been dry for a month.
How did you find it?
Will never be. It made no material difference to how I felt or my energy levels or anything, and I'm never going to do that again.
All right. Well, it's good that you did it.
Tristan
Just
take
to
January
know
off?
that
Tristan made it all the way through January because he's a hero.
That's the guy that you want beside you in the trenches.
Yeah, no, I'd be like, yeah,
doesn't
no,
rely
I'm
on
out.
alcohol.
I'm done. I'm walking in the opposite direction, motherfuckers.
Gem Gold
No.
asks,
I know her.
how is Luke's beard going?
Well,
Is Baker playing that skeleton selfie game?
I did actually play that skeleton selfie game.
Did Baker make the skeleton selfie game?
Yes, I did make the skeleton selfie game.
Tim Nesbitt asks, what do you think are the chances of
Hi,
other
Jem.
rare Wii
Jem,
games? Oh, yeah,
voicemail.
by the
Voicemail.
way.
Leave us a
Hi,
voicemail.
Jem.
Voicemail.
And we miss you.
We do.
Tim Nesbitt, friend of the Hearthstone, I was about to say. That is bizarre.
After the Stonecast.
It's starting, Cam Shay.
what the?
Tim
Yeah.
Nesbitt, friend of the podcast. What do you think of the chances of other rare Wii games being released digitally on the Wii U, specifically Xenoblade Chronicles? The 3DS version sounds like it might be taking a graphical hit when compared to the original Wii release.
I'm going to be honest. I tuned out during this question.
I gotta be honest. I'm living in 2015.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how realistic it is either. That's all I have to say.
I don't think that answered the question.
No,
It didn't actually.
it
Yeah,
didn't.
that was like
I mean,
a
in my
different
defense,
question.
I have absolutely zero knowledge of Wii games.
I just loved him, but I just kind of feel like just you play it on Wii. Fuck, I just want new games. I'm sick of all these old games getting re-released.
Well, I mean, if you look at the state of the Wii U, I don't think their Nintendo's priorities right now are to re-release Wii games on that console.
Well, no, I mean they are, but I mean, maybe we missed the point. Is other rare Wii games? Maybe Xenoblade Chronicles is difficult to get, so a digital re-release. Maybe that's what he's getting at. In which case, yeah, I mean, hopefully, I mean, you want them to kind of do the right thing by their audience. So that's up to Shiggy, and Reggie.
Hasashi asks, what is your favorite weapon of choice in games at work and on the street? And I will answer this straight up. It is the shotgun.
Isn't that everybody's answer almost?
No, my answer is the M60.
Okay.
I'm a dagger man.
Ah, nice. Says a
you-
lot about us.
Get you nice and tight.
Wow. Okay.
I started that.
I would have thought you would be a Shiv guy.
And I started playing Dragon Age Origins, and I picked the dagger man, and apparently that's the hardest to do.
Okay.
Dagger man.
Dagger Man.
I have a song where all I do is I sing about knives. That's basically
Okay.
Yeah.
Jay Spoldred
Is it called
asks,
Dagger Man?
Is
Say the name of it.
Destiny
Dagger man.
is Destiny the game of 2015 so far?
Not as such.
Well, Jay Spoldridge,
Didn't it
I
come out
don't know
last
about
year?
that.
If by
because,
Destiny you mean Hearthstone, yes.
yeah, I think those of us who, probably asking the wrong crowd, because those of us who were really invested in Destiny last year, i.e. myself and Tristan, are no longer playing it this year. So I would have no idea. Luke Crompton asks, what kind of flowers would be prettiest woven into my beard? And I love this question, and my answer would be daisies.
I'm willing to back that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with daisies.
I'm gonna go sunflowers.
Ooh.
Wow, that's got to be
You
a
know,
big
just
beard.
because I know Luke and he's ugly, so you want to cover that up as much as possible.
Peter Dahms asks, for someone, this is
Wait,
a good
what
question.
about self-raising? Just powder that bad boy up with self-raising flour.
You're
Peter
an
Dahms
idiot.
asks,
You're an idiot!
for someone new to the
I'm Ben
3DS,
And I'm here to say
Sorry.
self-raising flour is the only way. I said the only way.
for someone new to the 3DS, what are some great games to start with? I think
Great
that's a
question.
really good question.
I'll take this one, guys.
Go on, Luke. Go ahead.
The one with Mario in it.
That's a good one.
Mario one.
Mario Mario one.
You definitely want the Mario one, and you're gonna want the Zelda one.
Hey, he's pretty close.
Is there a
He's pretty
Zelda one
close.
on the
Yeah,
three?
the Zelda one.
Yep.
And the Donkey Kong one.
I would say if you want
The other first-party Nintendo one.
if you
Yeah.
Smash Friends.
Smash Friends.
Smash your mates.
no, you don't want that. You don't play that on 3DS.
Okay.
Zelda one definitely.
Smash your carts.
Zelda one definitely. Luigi's Mansion,
Oh,
not
the
the arcade.
Luigi one.
Not the arcade. The Luigi one.
Driving Mario. and
Driving
friends.
Mario.
And you want that. And you want that eShop one where you like bury down into the ground. That one's good.
That's a very good answer. Laser Bisect. Since GTA 5 is being welcomed into the hearts and homes of the master race in the near future, what would your dream mod be?
Well, I think we should probably ask the developer in the room.
Well, my dream mod is not a funny answer because I saw this mock-up of a map that some guy had made where he'd taken a map of GTA 5, but he'd put in San Fierro up in the north, and then Las Venturas off to the side where the desert is in Blaine County, and he'd like photoshopped in like what it would hypothetically look like. That's what my dream mod would be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Which is obviously impossible. But we're dealing with hypotheticals here.
We're talking about a community that created like the horse mod. I mean, the limitations are endless, friend.
Yeah.
Dare to dream.
Mm.
I don't even know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Someone say something.
I'm waiting for you to give your answer in the form of a rap.
Horses. How about that?
My name's Ben Baker, and we're talking GTA.
I was
The mod I would like is...
I kill you, Shay. There you go.
I was 50-50 on whether or not once GTA 5 came out next gen that they'd actually put horses in it, because I know they've got the horse tech.
They do have horse tech
from Red Dead. They've got the horse tech, and I want a chase. I want a True Lies style chase where you're chasing a guy on a motorbike and you're on a horse. He's on a motorbike. And he jumps off a building, and you have to chase him off, and your horse balks. And
horse
so on and
mod
so
would be
forth.
pretty sick.
Yeah, and you're
if people
galloping through the streets, chasing a motorcycle through a park.
That's pretty awesome.
If people could mod in a skating kind of thing, that'd be such a fun city to just bomb around.
Yeah, it actually would be. Yeah,
that's a cool idea.
Anyway,
just little things that make the sandbox a little bit bigger. Turtle frisbees. There you go. Boom.
Timothy Rolf Weisenhunt asks, "Hey guys, I'm from VA in the US and am not terribly familiar with the workings of the IGN AU office. What I mean specifically is about the Pubcast members. Does Baker actually work for IGN? Can you clarify what Pubcast members' actual positions and responsibilities are? Where you are allowed, of course. I love the Pubcast and appreciate the lengthy discussions. #BringBackBaker.
Woo, bring back Baker.
Bring him back, guys.
We
Let's
did.
get that campaign going.
Tell us what your role is in the form of a rap. My name's Ben Baker, and
I don't work here. Did we ever clarify to people? I'm just here. I don't. And then people go, "Why are you here?"
you're here clearly not for your rapping skills
I wish you
because
would
they're
drop this rap.
fucking shit. All right.
I'm only here because
I was told you were talented, and that's definitely not the case. From the evidence of the last 20 minutes or so.
I'm basically a Cam Shea sponge because if I'm not around, someone else cops this abuse, and that's so I absorbed that. But I'm only here because I acted really inappropriately at a Japanese tsunami fundraiser, which
That is
sounds like a joke that I would make up, but
Yeah.
was actually the
It was
truth.
actually a thing that happened.
That actually happened, and then I've been hanging around like a bad stink since then.
Yeah.
But I don't work
Bad
here.
stink.
I draw skeletons for a living.
Yeah.
He does.
You draw some art for us for part of a small amount of your living.
That is true. I have worked for you guys recently. I did
Yeah.
the Black Beta Select Awards artwork. But
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
work here. I don't know what anybody does here.
Neither do we, really.
I don't know what anybody else does here.
I'm obviously the MC of the team.
You're the mix
Yeah.
master.
Yeah.
Michael Shelley asks, "Why doesn't my dad love me?"
Maybe it's because you're so insecure and needy.
Maybe I keep writing in the podcasts asking.
Your
about-
dad don't love you because you're hella lame. What's the next line? Go on, Baker, go, quick.
Going to walk off this podcast immediately.
Baker's response was really tame.
Chris O'Day asks,
That's a
I'm just
shame,
plowing
man.
through before
That's a
this
shame.
this
That
all
is a real
unravels.
shame.
Chris O'Day asks, what game do you think would be the most intense/frightening to play through a headset? I would probably say of recent, years, PT.
PT.
I think DayZ would be pretty fucking terrifying to play.
Alien Isolation.
Alien Isolation's a good one. PT.
Tristan Smith, hey Pubcasters and friends of the
Pokemon teachers
Pubcast, I'm
typing.
about to board my flight for Melbourne from Tokyo. Thanks for the recommendations I asked for
Oh,
in the last Pubcast.
sweet.
Robot Restaurant was amazing. Cheers.
He also sent a photograph of him having a great time in Japan.
What? Oh,
I wish we
man.
had it. We could put on this TV behind us for the people who will watch this as a video.
I wish our Tristan was here to tell this Tristan how great his name was.
It's true.
Oh, well.
Dave Mateo asks, is a Japanese state-of-the-art, actually he said state-of-the-art toilet, which is something I'm not familiar with, but I presume he means state-of-the-art toilet, worth the money?
As somebody who's used one, yes.
Yeah, I have friends who have one in Sydney.
It turns every bowel movement into a very romantic adventure.
Yeah.
Well, I just like the warmth.
I mean, he's seen the Simpsons in Japan episode, right?
Tristan,
Like,
Tristan Smith, can you please write in and
Yeah.
let us know?
let Dave Mateo
let
know.
Dave Mateo know. Whether
Actually,
or not
no. Why are we even involved? Dave, Tristan, you guys just
Sort it
chat-
out.
just
Yeah.
sort it out.
Tristan,
Come
you
on.
are probably the most recent Pubcast aficionado to have experienced the joys of a Japanese toilet
Yep.
in your nethers. Please explain said
In the
joys
nethers.
in the Netherlands.
to this stranger.
Yep.
All right. Daniel Alejandro Gomez, thoughts on Amiibo and the future they have with Nintendo already discontinuing certain Amiibos. Was it just a half-baked idea?
I thought
don't
it was
know.
super successful.
I mean, this is the thing. I don't really know what is happening with Amiibos right now because everyone that I know seems to be going crazy for Amiibos. So
because
it's
my level of involvement with them is I know that they're a thing and I don't know anything more than that.
That's also my level of involvement.
well, I mean, I know that there are some being discontinued and that there are some they're introducing color variants now and they're also sort of pitching them as kind of certain amiibos being rare and so they're appealing to the kind of collectors, which I feel like Nintendo fans and sort of collector aficionados are kind of they go hand in hand.
Is
right?
that what? Oh, hello. I don't know if I'm recording anymore.
You are.
Oh, there we go. Is the
What?
sorry, no, it all cut out in my headphones. Is them
Rap.
discontinuing it?
Rap.
Fuck you.
Rap.
So hard.
Rap.
Is them discontinuing it them trying to make it a bit more of a collector's market rather than going, oh, this isn't working, we're going to get rid of these? And
Yeah,
they
I
go-
presume. Well, I presume so.
Yeah,
It's
but
maybe.
also,
going into the Disney vault. So
well,
to
I don't know. I
speak,
mean,
like-
their initial lineup wasn't. They had the villager from Animal Crossing, and then they had the trainer from Wii Fit, and those aren't exactly bestsellers. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I own one amiibo that was given to me by a friend. But I certainly haven't gone out and purchased.
I will never interact with them on any level, I
don't
would
I
say.
don't know what they are.
But
I
I'm
will
in my late
also do
30s,
that.
so that's probably to be
That's
expected.
probably
I
why.
just thought amiibos was something you could get if you sat down on a public toilet seat without wiping it first. I don't know what it is.
That would have been so much funnier as a rap.
And final question from Daniel as well. He asks, also DC announced their future plans, then Marvel came swinging with theirs. What is your preference? Are you still down on Snyder's World? My preference is still, even though I grew up with DC Comics, my preference in the cinematic universe is still Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel all day.
I am still down on Snyder's World. I'm not down with Snyder's World.
Ooh, a little hip hop lingo there.
I-
My
Let's
name
see.
is Lucy, and I'm here to say
She's getting into the spirit of it.
No, I just I've always I don't hate Snyder's films sort of filmmaking style. I just find that it's not the DC that I know. It's not the DC that I remember. He has a curious ability of sucking the
Sucking.
joy out of the properties that the characters that I sort of grew up with, and I'm not like I've never really been so far like I'm not like this is a thing. I have great hopes for Batman vs Superman. I have great hopes. I have hopes. But I wasn't the biggest fan of Man of Steel. At the time I enjoyed it. I saw it with you, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was fine, but like the more I thought about it afterwards, I was like, is that really what I want from a Superman franchise? Like I was fine with it as a sort of standalone.
My name's Lucy O'Brien, and I thought it was fine. But what I really wished was that it was something divine. Man, this is just like rapping's so easy. Why doesn't everybody do it?
Speaking of rapping,
let's wrap this bad boy up.
Wrap it up, Lucy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke.
It's always a pleasure to
Always
sit
a
across
pleasure.
from you, as I do every day. Ben,
If
good to see you.
any West Coast gangs were upset by Cam's poor rapping abilities, maybe he's stamping on. Like if you've got beef with Cam Shea, I know where he lives.
Yeah.
Contact me on Facebook. He's so easy to drive by.
Oh, and also, I'm so pleased that Suge Knight's been arrested because he's a fucking thug and deserves to go to jail.
Wow. Step on some toes. Anything to say about the 9th Ward and New Orleans?
I do like West Coast gangster rap, so like.
And that was Cam Shea,
Thanks, Luke.
and he's here to stay.
Oh, God.
Hey, everybody's doing the Bum Bacon because he's the open out. Woo!
All right.
That was Pubcast 110. Thank you very much, Lucy. Don't move yet because we are about to wrap this baby up with a classic freeze frame. Take it away. What the? Superman's discovered he has a new super flare power where he expels all the energy in his cells to create a bright, powerful blast capable of incinerating everything within a quarter mile. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Robbo!
Yeah, mate. You need some bog roll?
Come here. No, I don't need bog roll. What are you doing today?
Don't know, not much. Oh, I guess it's Thursday, so probably, rip a few tins and, the cricket starts soon.
Mate, dead set. We need to get our shit together and we need to do it today.
What do you mean?
I mean, we need more power.
Well, I can sort those extractors out on the Tirana, probably squeeze an extra 20 kilowatts or so out of it.
No, not the car. I mean us.
Huh?
I mean, we need more power. Like special superpowers and shit.
Mate, is this about Superman again?
Super flare, what a tryhard.
Are you pissed off?
I dead set am ropeable.
Yeah, I get it.
He can already do everything. He's invincible. He can fly. He can move at super speed. He can shoot lasers out of his bloody face. I mean, Jesus, he has X-ray vision. You ever been on a double date with Clark and Lois?
Nah.
Don't. I did once. You can see whoever you're with naked before you do.
What a white hand. Pretty good power, though, X-ray vision. Tell you what, I'd use the shit out of that.
Mate, I've had a gut full of him. He's got too many powers. What have we got?
Mate, we've got tons of dosh. We've got the biggest house in southwest Sydney. We've got a bunch of sick weapons and cars. You even got a bloke who you literally pay to make me brekkie in the morning and bring me beers and shit.
I mean, besides that,
Well, I don't know.
I need some superpowers, mate.
Mate, you've got plenty of unique abilities.
Like what?
Well, you remember that time you smashed 68 beers on that flight to the Hall of Justice? That was out of control. That was dead set superhuman.
I guess.
Mate, you're better than Superman at tons of stuff. Pulling girls, Barbies, handbrakies.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at handbrakies.
I know, right? Don't worry about Supo. He's always kind of been a bit of a wanker. Also, I've read about this new power of his. If he uses it, he loses all of his powers for 24 hours.
Wait, so he's like human for a day, like a whole day afterwards.
Mate, yes.
Yeah. Hey, can you put some feelers out? Maybe let me know next time he does this super flare shit.
Yeah, sure. Why's that?
So I can go smash him.